Yeah, well, I used to think like I had to be like Conan, where I'd be like, and today we have, and it was like, so
you're like,
lame.
and I was right. So here we go.
Now I just like, we start like, are we already going right now? See, we're already started. Cool. So we're here with Celeste. I don't want to mess up your last name. How you say it?
Bonin.
Bonin. Okay, I figured it.
You knew how to say it. You knew how to say it. There's really no way to say it.
Could be Bonin. So
it could be, but if you know, I think phonetically.
There's nothing I love more than when we're traveling and like a TSA agent or somebody says something, and they'll like be checking us, and they're like, "Wait, how do you say your last? Is it Bonin?" But you get a lot of jokes.
Well, it's like boner jokes, but it's actually pronounced Bonin. It's French,
Bonin?
but it's just Bonin.
Well, like I'm Job, so I got a lot of blowjob jokes growing up. So
you're like,
my coaches would call me that. I'm like, you're a high school coach. I don't think that's appropriate.
Like, this feels inappropriate.
Like, what'd you say, Jerry Sandusky?
Yeah. So Celeste Bonin and Grant Dziak.
Yeah, dude,
see?
Nailed it.
Fuck yeah.
Nailed it.
Well, like I was saying, I had a history of ruining everyone's names. And
enhancing everyone's names.
Yeah.
Just giving them another way to look at it.
I like the optimism. I'm with it.
Well, thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful you guys are here.
I do love the informality of the intro because it's just purely conversational. So.
Well, that's what this is all about.
I I use this as this is my American Idol tryout. I start.
There you go.
I'm like, baby, wrong place.
Oh,
you can sing.
But no, these are great microphones. When you reached out and we started talking about doing this podcast, we were checking out, your page and the show and stuff, and we were like, oh God, he's got great microphones.
Dude, I'll send you the links for everything.
we were like, that's
great
dope.
mics.
Oh, sounds great. It makes conversating so much more fun.
You like tits and ass or microphones?
Yeah.
Microphones kind of guy.
For sure.
High quality mics all day. But no, I'm so happy you guys came. Like we've had so much fun already. Like I feel like we should have shot the second you guys got here. And so, but to kind of jump into it, for people that might be unfamiliar with who you guys are, what you do, why don't you kind of give them a little bit of background on
my darling?
Okay, well, I'm like, it all started when I was 7.
Yeah.
So I guess the super Cliff Notes version. Yeah. Are we doing that?
Oh, hey, you whatever you want.
Hey, you know what? Because it'll pop up. You hit the Cliff Notes, it's going to hit up conversations later on.
Yeah. Oh, I set it up. Yeah. Okay,
there you
cool.
Go.
So, all right. So first of all, thank you so much. This has been such a great experience. And I know we literally just started the recording the podcast, but just your energy and your message and just you literally, the way you set this up and you made us feel so welcomed, and just thank you so much. And like having so much cool stuff lined up for us. Yeah. It's such a cool experience, and we like really appreciate that and like vibe with that so much. So it's cool to be able to like walk in here, and I know we were like hanging out for like 45 minutes, an hour, but it's cool because it's like that's what it all is anyways. It's connection. So it's
an experience.
Yeah,
it's not just let's lay down a track. It's have an entire experience out of it.
Yeah. So we just wanted to, I know I can speak for Grant when I say this. So it's like so cool to be invited into something like this. And it's like, there's so many parts of you that you incorporate, and it's what makes it what it is. So,
well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys are bringing out the best of me. I'm already having fun. Like a lot of these like conversations I have, like, I'm always like, oh shit, like, do they want to be here? Or like, am I asking questions that they want to talk about or things? And no,
we feel that.
Yeah, no, I've had a blast so far. So, again, jumping in.
Oh, so I'm like just sidestepping and avoiding the question. No, so my name's Celeste. I'm from Houston, Texas, born in Galveston actually, and I just I've been an athlete my whole life. I started competing in figure competitions when there was still a one piece, right? When I was like 19 years old. And then I ended up getting into professional wrestling, and I wrestled for the WWE for about 4 years, and I left in 2014. And then I started a clothing brand for women called Celeste Bodies, and I designed, invented, and patented the booty scrunch, which is now like an industry standard across the board.
I was going to say the little tight thing on the leggings.
It enhances.
Rouging?
I
learned that word.
I coined the term booty scrunch, and I patented it. And so it's funny because like when I was wrestling, my wrestling gear, I had that ruching sewn in to enhance the way that, my body looked on television, and, just it's hard to be on TV and everyone has insecurities, and I for sure had insecurities, and it was something that, you know, made me feel a little bit more confident. And so when it's a whole, you know, saga, but you know, when I left wrestling, and I started Celestial Bodies, I wanted to recreate that feeling in, you know, something more common like leggings. And so it was like a really cool adventure.
I'm going to co-host this with you.
Go for it.
Because there's like too many things that I'm going to hope.
I'm going
to hope everybody else that's listening to this is like, what does she mean by that? Yeah. Because I had no idea. I never, you know, I watched wrestling when I was young.
Yes.
And then actually the first day we met, she mentioned, like, we're out at this like VIP dinner. I was a speaker at an event. She was there. We ended up sitting right across from each other, of course. And I was like, so what are you doing? She's, you know, told me about Celestial Bodies. And then she's like, I'm like professional wrestling. And I was like, I'm thinking like the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then she's like for WWE. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And all these people are like, what? I'm like, I was like looking at the girl next to me. I'm like, is she messing with me? And she's like, no, she is. I'm like, that's cool. But never in a million years would I have understood the story behind why she created that, because I never would have assumed they're responsible for all of their own attire, their gear, all of that stuff. I never knew that.
Wow.
Thanks, babe. Thanks for that little boost. So that it was created when I was wrestling in my wrestling career, and then I had Celestial Bodies for 7 years, and it was just such a journey. Did so many. I really built a name for myself in the fitness industry, and I was like, well, I started here, you know, and I like wrestling was kind of like merging in that world, and so it was cool, and I had a blast, and I learned a lot of things about having a business, and I got married and divorced, and my ex-husband was in the fitness industry. And so when Grant and I met, when we first met, my divorce had just been finalized, by a year. And I was like going through so much and just like drinking and just, coping and like numbing myself. And, I had so many things that I had never, and up until that point, just didn't know how to look at or live with.
Yeah.
And so I was in so much pain, and I can look back and be like, wow, I've always been in that. I was always in that pain, but it was really coming to fruition with like everything that was like just showing me, you know, in my life, like the things are kind of like really fucked up, you know, like
you can only bottle it down for so long.
Yeah, like just look at these things. And that was when actually like about that time in my life when Grant and I met, and you know, so we've been together for 3 years, and you'll hear it and feel it and see it, but you know, the love story of a lifetime.
It's like every lifetime, like it's like the very, and I don't want to cut it off, but it's too good to not put it in with this. It's like we're 3 days apart on our birthdays.
Oh wow.
Exact same scenarios of like upbringing, like single mother, father not in our lives, one older sibling. Literally, she's from Galveston. I'm from Port Clinton, Ohio, and like they parallel. They look so similar.
We're just
all white trash.
Yeah, we're really white.
I love it.
Yeah.
And
vibe.
like the first time I said something, we found out all that. Her brother and her mom, like they're all with people who are from Columbus. They're like all separately, like no interconnectedness.
It's really beautiful.
Her brother and sister-in-law lived like a mile up the road from me in Ohio for years, and we never knew each other. Her sister-in-law tore her ACL in a bar on game day one year, squatting someone.
Squatting on the dance floor, my sister-in-law, my brother's wife.
And it was the bar that I ran, and I was the GM, and I'm the one who helped her. We didn't know each other, and this is just like all these crazy connections.
That's wild.
And then we were FaceTiming before we met up in person, and she's like, where are you going right now? It's kind of late. And I was like, I have this weird thing. Like, I drink diet root beer every night. And she literally holds up an A&W root beer.
We're obsessed with root beer to the
I love root beer.
So do you?
Yeah. I drink.
It's like such an off one, though.
You know?
I purposely drink root beer with barbecue. So it like, to me, it complements.
It's an experience. Yeah, it's an experience.
So good. And she's like, wait. She's like, she could see my headrest, and it said like Denali. And she goes, what kind of car do you drive? And I was like, GMC Sierra. She's like, I drive a Yukon. Same year, like we leased them at the same time. When I ended up moving down there, we looked at our thing, and it's like we're within 100 miles of each other. in our mileage. It's just like all these synchronicities.
We were like, are we like maybe brother and sister, like twins separated at birth? We're like, well,
it's like no dirt.
Fuck it, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Even if we are. But yeah, so that kind of just shows or helps paint a picture of you know, what we have. And it's silly, but it's like, it's
those little things are
exponential.
Cool, like,
it and those things led to big massive things. And so like over the past 3 years, we have just ripped each other apart, cracked each other open, and like just grown so much. And we created our business together a year ago.
That's like a very nice PG way of saying it too. Ripped each other apart. Like it's been the most.
So when you say ripped each other apart, do you mean like holding each other accountable as far as like calling each other out on like things like that?
So when we first met,
sort of
when we first met, I was very like very unable to recognize myself. I was very unable to see myself or to acknowledge any hard truths about myself, and I was very guarded, very closed off. I had a lot of pain, and everybody does. And so when we met, it was very much the catalyst to, it's like if I wanted to have the person, that means the absolute world to me, everything to me, I would need to choose myself. And that means to like do the hard thing. But I resisted it, and I fought it for so long because I didn't understand it. Because my experience in the world told me that it's not safe to trust or open up to anybody. And, I had so much pain and shame about it, because it's you can talk about it, but you can't really like talk about it. Well, now it's like easier, I think, just with the movement of everyone
so much more accepted,
becoming more conscious, and like.
Well, I think there was a massive movement of people recognizing how like mental health is a serious issue right now, in that, especially with like the massive uptick in growth in social media, creating this false perception of reality, people start comparing their lives to, these individuals that are just showing the highlights, or a lot of it is fabricated highlights. And so they start thinking like, this is what life's supposed to be like. This is how I'm supposed to live. And that just kind of adds to whatever trauma they're dealing with. And I've noticed quite the uptick of people not wanting to express a lot of the things they're dealing with because they don't want to almost fall out of that that social acceptance.
Such an amazing conundrum, isn't it? Social media, it's like I'd say 50% of it is beautiful, amazing connection, and the ability to spread a message and normalize mental health, like different ways of looking at the world, different perceptions, different ideas, different concepts on a massive scale. Like people will be like, oh my God, I only have 5,000 followers. Whenever in history could you do nothing, and have access? Dude, 10 people, like if you have 10 followers, and it's like this idea that it's all these other things, and we'll probably get into it, but
for sure.
But it's like, it's insane, because it's like, to us, and our entire mission is to eventually create the tipping point of how we perceive what society is. Because you have those other 50% that are comparing themselves to everybody every single day, waking up, checking social media, starting their entire mindset off in this thing of, I'm not good enough, which it doesn't matter. That's not what tells them they're not good enough. They've been telling themselves they're not good enough since they were 7 years old because of a misunderstanding between a parent. Now they're just finding new evidence of it at a readily accessible rate. And we know like 5% about people on social media. And then we like just fill in the blanks with the rest of what our imagination is. So I think it's the 50% that are using it for amazing connection that is going to help pull those other 50% over to go like, dude, like this is not the only way to live.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do with this, with all of the whole Austin Fitness community page. And anyone watching knows I've talked about this 1,000 times, but what kind of shifted my mindset, because at the time I was just in a routine. I was just doing events, just cool things, trying to grow the brand and do stuff. But what changed the whole perception for it, for me through it, was I was doing an event. I was promoting it on the story. Some individual messaged and said like, "Oh, that looks fun." And I said, "Yeah, it's gonna be a blast. I can't wait to see you out there." And they said, "Oh, I'm not gonna go. I don't think I would fit in." And I'm like, "That's not what this is. Like the whole purpose is just to bring community together, have like a good time." And they were like, well, you know, I just don't look like them. Like, I just don't fit that. Like, I'm still like, you know, trying to get in shape. And I go, this isn't what this is about at all. It's about just trying to surround yourself with like-minded individuals and motivate, you know, and kind of lift each other up. I said, I'll tell you what, you come and you just hang out with me the whole time. And I go, if anyone's mean to you, like, I will ruin their entire life and make them leave.
Brother, I just want to say, from what you've already said, that is 100% what we do. And you just go about it. And like, you have a different modality of sharing that with the world. That would mean you're part of that 50% that's redefining what these words mean.
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to do is essentially reinstill integrity and authenticity back into the fitness industry, because I feel like there's so many great things in the fitness industry. And I mean, it's changed my entire life. It's changed how I've approached things. It's changed, you know, how how I've decided to move forward with my life. But I also don't deny the really shitty things about it. And a lot of that is materialism, and kind of what we were talking about earlier before the show is that I feel like materialism is now dominating, you know, what the image of health and wellness is. And I don't think that that's a healthy thing. You know, I think if there's individuals out there that are trying to make lifestyle changes and they see these thirst traps and, you know, all these like things.
Traps, I love it.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's,
thirst trap.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a thirst trap. I think people that if they look good and they feel good, they want to show it off, like, fantastic. But then there's those individuals that, like, you know, it's the same type of people that are like, they go to a gym once and then they start a fit page and like call themselves a trainer. And then, you know, they're using their image to take advantage of people that genuinely need guidance. And you have these people that are so uneducated. And a good quote I heard is, we need less influencers and more educators, because you get these people out there that are using the fitness demographic to just boost their own ego. Today's episode is brought to you by ReGen Health and Wellness. The team at ReGen Health and Wellness is devoted to helping patients revitalize, repair, and renew the optimal blueprint of yourself. They provide an individualized and concierge model of healthcare, empowering patients to optimize their health span and overall quality of life. It's said no one can escape father time, but almost everyone can make the conscious decision and commit to living better and healthier lives. It begins with a mindset. They offer both in-clinic and telemedicine consultations. So whether you're due for a routine checkup or struggling to hit your health and fitness goals, go online or give them a call to schedule your appointment today. And
you need fewer people calling themselves influencers, because the educators are the actual influencers. It's what's influencing everything.
Like, I'm a big fan of Andrew Huberman, and I don't think most people know who that is.
Yeah,
like,
love his stuff.
He's incredible. He's so smart, and he has a way of taking difficult things to understand and like simplifying it.
He does it the way we do. I mean, not saying like, obviously two completely different planes. The guy's got insane knowledge. I'm like, we do in a very different way. But like that kind of thing, it's just he does amazing analogies.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
So amazing. Like, it's like he's a translator.
You're like the king of analogies.
Whoa.
I just
like a book of analogies and quotes.
It's if you think about an
it's
analogy,
like toilet reading.
Yeah, I got a bunch of those books. I love random facts.
But think of an analogy is like poetry. It's like
wait. You know how I'm sure you do this, and I'm sure everybody listening does this. Is like, you probably give amazing relationship advice to your friends, but when it comes to you, you can't take that same advice from yourself, and you can be like, no, it's different.
Well, it factors on, it's very circumstantial too, because I used to do that. And then when my last relationship ended, I personally was like, I audit myself a lot. Like, I'm not afraid to recognize my own flaws. So there were things that ruined that relationship. A lot of it was done by my own doing. You know, it's the fact that I'm very much an analytical thinker. So I'd overthink a lot of situations that weren't as bad as they were. So I would almost create it more in my head. But then there was a lot of things that like were just not my fault. And, but I used to be that guy that'd be like, well, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do that? And it's so much easier said than done. But then when I went through the experience myself, I was able to take a step back, and instead of telling them what to do from just like a to B level, it was like, you know, maybe take this approach, you know, maybe look at it like this before making a big decision or making a huge mistake. And like, I had a buddy once that was like, he was thinking about cheating on his girlfriend because he thought that like it would even the score of like something his girlfriend had done that was kind of messed up, but she didn't cheat on him, or I don't know. It was just, if you can't tell, it was already stupid. And I said, bro, if you're already thinking about cheating on her, like, that's not someone you should be with.
Right.
You know, like if you're already going down that rabbit hole, like this is pretty much coming to an end. Like, you know, so you might want to take a step back and really ask yourself if, like, are you ignoring the red flags to make this something you want it to be? Or is this someone you actually want to be with? And
your brain's blocking it out.
Yeah.
Because it's you can't see it. And that's what it is. And that's why you need an analogy, because the pain of the fear. So if you're somebody who you feel like you get screwed over in relationships all the time, and you keep bringing the exact same thing into your life, you're like, man, the last guy's the same. Is this one? Is this one? Is this one? The same girl over and over and
all
over
the time.
And it's because like, it's not them, it's you.
Yep.
You're a magnet. You're going to bring, until you change your magnetic north, like you're going to just attract the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
But when you have an analogy, since you can't see it yourself, if you can pull outside of it and see it through a different lens, unobjectively, the same reason like coaches have coaches.
Yeah.
Well, like, and that's the fear for like bodybuilding coaches. They're always pretty afraid. Like, well, some of them are. It's actually accepted now, and I think it's a thing to.
It's becoming more evolving. I'm around them a lot, and a lot of coaches are unwilling though. I'm totally with you on that. Are unwilling to take criticism.
What's the feeling of discredit?
Yep.
Like why would the world ever hire me as a fitness coach if I'm getting coached on my fitness? And we all do, because we all have blind spots. But when you have an analogy, dude, you can see it from a completely different angle.
Yeah.
You'll give your input on it, and you literally cannot deny it at that point.
Yep.
It's like expanding someone's perception. So it's like you only know, or you've only experienced what you've experienced. You only have a certain capacity based on, how, you know, today's the oldest you've ever been alive. So this is your current capacity. So if you're trying to understand something beyond your perception, to expand your mind, expand your being, your consciousness, you need a bridge. So an analogy is a bridge. It helps you, something that you understand and can perceive in your life now, and like your current capacity of what reality is. You have you can conceptualize something, and then when it's presented as an analogy, then you can expand your mind beyond, and it becomes a bridge. And so it's the ultimate tool. It's like poetry. It's meant to express the unexpressible. So it's you create an analogy to create principles of understanding that help you wrap your perception around it.
She's fine. Yeah, no, it does that. A lot of it's the AC, but I'll turn it down too. But they, no, that's not going to pop up on the actual footage. Like, it does it to me. It's more only for us. But no, to kind of expand on what you're saying.
Whenever we do this, we always start here, and both of us, we always keep each other in check during podcasts.
Like,
it's good.
Get your face near the microphone.
Oh yeah, I have a habit of leaning forward anyway, so I sound like like one of those sleep. Like I'm helping someone sleep.
A late night radio DJ.
Yeah, you're like, I just try to be white noise in the background.
Yeah. Well, we kind of got some. So no, but you're totally right. I'm like, I just forgot how to pronounce the word, but analogies. Yes. Okay, so analogies, they are a good way to help people. What
starts with anal?
Yeah,
anal.
But no, it is a good way for people to understand things better, because sometimes when you use, like, put things just blunt, it's almost like you were saying, they subconsciously just deny it.
You feel you guard yourself to it because it hurts. It's painful to have a painful truth.
Well, it's like, also like, they can't see it because they're blocking out painful aspects of their life. If they're afraid, if they spent their whole entire life being afraid of being alone, or like not being good enough, like, and then I'm trying to achieve this certain body type because if I believe if I have this body type, I'll be loved and I'll be good enough. So if I can do all that, we're solid. But the difference is, if they feel like they're not going to be loved because they don't achieve whatever it is, it's like, that's the fear driving home. So their nervous system actually is kicking in. It's not just this, oh, I'm just going to push this away and be defensive. Your entire nervous system is going, dude, this is a threat. Like, this is death.
I was turning the AC off. I couldn't agree more. It's so many people are so just like okay with denying reality because it's harder for them to accept the truth. And it's very frustrating to watch when it's with your friends. So I choose my friends, and I always tell them, like, don't just tell me what I want to hear. Like, I need my friends to hold me accountable. I'm not perfect by any means. Like, I make mistakes all the time. And so I think that a lot of people surround themselves with yes men. So they never actually get, and that's actually kind of a good transition what I want to get into, but they never actually know, like, how much they're fucking up until they meet someone that isn't their friend or like a yes man. And, you know, and the transition is, you know, you guys are lifestyle coaches, correct? Is that kind of a good term to use?
Yeah. We kind of let people choose what they decide to call it.
It's like the title doesn't matter that much because, you know, you'll hear like life coach. Or, But
it's such a flawed term now because of so many frauds.
Well, we're like guides.
Yeah.
That's what we call ourselves.
And one thing I've noticed that's different, that separates you guys from a lot of these, you know, lifestyle coaches or guides and stuff, is that you guys don't, like, you almost lead with like here. Well, it's you're not afraid to like talk about, you know, things you've gone through and things currently going through. I feel like a lot of these lifestyle coaches that present themselves as that is like they almost try to give off this perception of, there's nothing wrong with me. That's why you should listen to me, follow me, and pay me and give me all your money.
Bro, it's because of your pain that you couldn't coach. It's because of your pain. It's because of the shitty things. It's the times you've been broke and your fucking car's been repossessed. Yeah. It's the times that you were an alcoholic or a drug addict or whatever it is that gives you the perspective and the experience to be a guide, to coach, to help, whatever it is. The problem is, and how you're saying, like, so many people end up getting into like the coaching space, and you know, I completely agree. But it's from, I think it's from just simply trying to fulfill the human need of relevancy.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So they're trying to have that because then I'm an authority. Yep. But they immediately start degrading themselves because they're like, man, I don't actually know what I'm talking about a lot of the time.
Oh, for sure. And then what they do is when they're questioned, they gaslight them, or they it's like a form of narcissism too. Like, you know, if someone's like, okay, well, this isn't working for me, like you said this, and then they just go, well, you're the problem, as opposed to being like, okay, well, let's take a step back and look at what we need to address. You know, like where did we kind of fall off? Where are we going wrong? And they don't do that. I see it all the time, and it drives me crazy because like there's so many people out there that are seeking out help and guidance. They just get taken advantage of.
Well, if you were to break down the entire process on like a psychological level with how so many people become coaches or even like physique competitors.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You know, it's like, and I'm just going to use a female as an example, is, and it happens with men too, is you go into a gym, you start working out, you get newbie gains. Yep. And you're feeling pretty good about yourself. And there's a like a prep coach that sees you, or another athlete that suggests you to their prep coach. And that prep coach is like, you would be an amazing build for this, because they want another athlete. They want more money. So they take you through this whole thing. You go through this whole prep. And you're like, okay, well, they're telling me I'm good. This is great. It feels good. Dopamine, endorphins, like we're feeling, it's literally chemicals. It doesn't mean you suck. So when people hear this, when people hear truth about themselves, it hurts because it feels like it's judgment. It's not a judgment. I wouldn't be able to say this unless I've experienced it myself. Yep. So it's zero judgment. It's assessing and acknowledging. Yep. So you do that. And as you diet down, well, I feel more confident, because I feel more confident. I'm going to post on social media. I start posting on social media. I'm getting this validation of likes, follows, comments. People are telling me good shit all the time. And I do this show, and I'm so nervous. Like the entire time I'm bitching about my diet, and I'm so nervous. I get on stage and I don't smile. I don't enjoy the entire experience at all. You didn't give a shit about the show. It's the entire thing, because you were so nervous. It's like Christmas Day. You spend all of December. You can't wait to get to Christmas. So excited. And then you get to Christmas and it's like, let's go to grandma's house. Let's get this grandma's. And it's like, don't do that. Don't, like, we're driving. Everyone's stressed. And then afterwards you go, man, it wasn't even Christmas. It was the month leading up. It was all the things that led to Christmas. That was just the event. And then, so most people step off stage the first time and they're depressed because they don't realize they had this thing in their life holding them accountable to something. They want to fulfill that void. And now they have all these people that have seen them be in shape online going, hey, how do you do that? Yeah. And then someone goes, you should be a coach. And that's all it takes. I think everybody has best of intentions. Yeah. I do not think anyone for a minute is like, let me go be a fitness coach and really just fuck up someone's hormones in their body and like destroy everything for them.
Trying to feel something.
Oh, it's a great way of looking at it. You know?
It's the weight of the responsibility that most don't, I think, take into account of how much your approach while you're trying to fulfill something in your life, it's at the expense of another person.
Yeah.
It's like we all know that when you have a certain amount of pain, you can't see past it. You can't, it's hard to consider others. It's hard to consider a different perspective or someone else's reality, especially when yours is so painful and it feels so valid. And it's the reason, I use really silly air quotes, it's the reason that you're not where you want to be.
A lot of it's based in denial too, you know, kind of extending on what you're saying. You know, people, they think that if they can just kind of live through that individual through their coaching, that, you know, it helps them deny facing their own trauma and their own battles. And I see it all the time. Like,
well, dude, how much better is it on a regular basis to be like, oh my God, I have to eat this and I can't enjoy burgers. It's fucking grind time, instead of being like, wow, what the fuck did my dad do to me when I was fucking 4 years old? What was this shit that I think I've had this amazing relationship with my mother my whole life, and only when I was 17 I realized it's shit, not me. I fucking love my mom like so much, but it's like all these things, and we chalk it up to be something else. And like, dude, I love some of the comments we get on our stuff. It's always like, you can tell it's like these middle-aged men that are probably like gym rats, you know, like what are they? Because
that's their identity.
Because I'll use the word healing, and they'll be like, oh, come on, you fucking beta male. Are you gay or something? Yeah. And it's like, first of all, we call people gay as an insult still. Like, I think you're probably going to get your ass kicked by someone who's gay for that. Yeah. Like, it's just.
Well, I think when you call someone gay, like, it's not meaning to actually like offend gay people, right. But like, I get what you're saying. It's like people like that though, they're just,
it's 2022. Come on, get better material.
Yeah. Right. Like there's some better names out there. Like they haven't taken them all away yet.
But it's like when going back to when you're unable to see past your own pain, you can't consider anything else. And so any other perspective becomes a threat to you.
Well, you said it beautifully. You said denying reality. They're not denying reality. They're denying a lot of people's reality, but they're not denying their own. Their reality is this is what it is, because they don't even realize the story that's getting created in the background at the same time. Yeah. And they go, well, why are you trying to tell me that the pain I feel today is something from a long time ago? And it's because you don't even know what your life is. Yeah. Like you probably don't, like 50% of your story is bullshit. And people hear that and it's so uncomfortable.
He is so mad.
So mad.
And you feel invalidated for everything that
I get people all the time. They always try to like call me out, and then I can tell like they lose their power when like they're expecting me to be like, no, that's not it. Like I'm like, no, you're wrong. Like this is actually where this derives from. This is why I'll respond to things in a certain way or I'll act this. But like you're creating something that is obviously like you're what's it called? Like you're projecting your own insecurity onto me, but like that's a you thing, man. And they want me to deny my own problems, but I'm not. And so then I'm telling them like, where's the root of this, projection coming from? And then that's where the gaslighting turns. And that's where well, actually you're the problem and you're doing this. And I'm like, but you haven't said one thing about you. Like this whole interaction, it's you, like, and that's kind of coming back full circle. Like that's where I have issue with a lot of these life coaches, but you guys seem to take a whole different approach. And that, I guess, is a kind of a good segue into Project Me.
Project This Is Me?
Project This Is Me. Sorry.
No, dude.
Today's episode is brought to you by Avatar Nutrition. It is always a treat to show some love to our sponsor, Avatar Nutrition. Avatar is actually owned by my friend Mark, who is a lifting buddy of mine from the gym. What I didn't realize at the time is that his app has been used by close to 200,000 people, and they've used it to lose over 2.5 million pounds of pure body fat. What's really special about Avatar is that it's a complete service delivered through a super easy-to-use app. See, Avatar is the OG in the macros game and created a process that makes counting macros both fun and simple to stick to long-term. You've got unlimited support from their community and experts on staff, and they are in the business of giving their clients results that last. Try it free on the App Store or Google Play Store for 2 weeks, and if you love it as much as I do, it's just $9.99 a month after that, or $97.99 for the annual rate if you want even more of a discount. If you're a coach, trainer, or you own any kind of business and want to use Avatar to facilitate game-changing nutrition coverage for your people, Avatar is a program for groups too. Just contact them through their website to learn more at www.avatarnutrition.com.
Good. Same thing.
Yeah, this is me.
Project Me. That's actually.
Let's.
It's like The Office. We'll use fewer words.
Less words to save time.
Yep. Yeah, we're on a time scale.
Yeah.
No.
Thanks for the bringing it up.
Well, no, I was interested in it because when I was talking to Emily, which shout out Emily Kennedy, one of my best friends.
Love Emily.
She connected this whole thing. She is one of my best friends.
Thanks,
and
dope human being.
She helps me out so much, and the truffles are the best.
Yeah,
So
she's quite the artist,
the
culinary artist.
Give me a whole new idea to the truffle shuffle.
Oh man, it's the best ever. But when did that start? And I guess for people watching, what exactly is Project This Is Me?
So it actually sounds exactly like what it is. So it's just like a project is like it's like
ongoing.
It implies that you're building something, you're creating something. It's ongoing. It's just it's a project. Mm-hmm. And then this is me. Like you becoming who you are is it's a constant evolution. It's infinite. Mm-hmm. And so we started Project This Is Me, and it's because that's our journey. We have been becoming, more and more ourselves and deeper and deeper into who we are and what our purpose is and what our message is. And our relationship going back to, when we met, our relationship was the catalyst for, a very big awakening in my life. And then, through everything that we experienced, just like the depths of our pain and our struggle and the, my trying to open to love and like, true intimacy and true acceptance was very difficult. And so many people can say like, yeah, me too. And like raise their hand. And so we feel like the things that we mirror to each other and the things that we do in our own lives and the life that we've created for ourselves is like we're every man and every woman and the things that we feel and want and feel that we have always been told we couldn't have or couldn't be. And it's been our mission of becoming ourselves, becoming that and guiding others along the way.
Wow. I'm like, too bad these mics are attached. You can drop it. But like, totally. I mean, wow. You put that so eloquently,
but it's
beautiful.
It's
but
what you say all the time.
Well, I would say it's, if you wanted a vision of it, like something someone's maybe try to conceptualize, it would be like the precipice of thinking you just found the beginning or the end of an infinity pool.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Like the second you get there, it's like, man, there's more. I can evolve more. It doesn't exist yet. So it's like the closer it gets, the further away it gets. Everyone approaches like personal development, therapy, psychology work, all these things. Like there's a destination to get to. Healing is a thing that you just end up there. I'm going to do this work. I'm going to journal. I'm going to read.
It means to an end.
Yeah. Like I'm going to sit with my legs crossed, pinch my fingers together and hum. And I think that's what meditation is. And if I can maybe not get as angry, I'm doing it. And it's like, it's not that at all. Yeah. Those are tools, and we'll talk about how like all that stuff plays in. It's so cool, but it is the reality that it's never going to end. Fitness is not a destination. Relationships are not a destination, and like a certain dollar amount in your bank account from your business is not a destination. 100%. They'll never be enough unless you start continuously fulfilling and seeking out the infinity pool that is, instead of like body, business, and relationships, you start finding health, wealth, and love within yourself.
Like what that fucking feels like in your body.
It's the voids. You ask anybody like, what is fitness? I'm like, like abs and arms, and it's like, all right, what is health? I'm gonna eat healthy. First of all, I'm like, well, what does it mean to eat healthy? What does healthy food look like? Oh, like chicken and rice,
greens.
And I'm like
sweet potatoes.
Motherfucker, like you can eat a sweet potato and get 42 grams of carbs, and you can also eat a Pop-Tart and get 42 grams of carbs. They're both there.
You like pull out a Pop-Tart and start eating.
I love Pop-Tarts.
We fuck with Pop-Tarts.
I'm all about it. They're speaking my language.
Some good late night munchies.
Well, you guys set up.
Taken care of.
Yeah, I always, when people ask me about like fitness or what is it, I just say it's a lifestyle. And when people go, well, what are you working out for, this or that? I go, it's therapy. I work out to decompress stress. Like I don't have like a specific goal or anything like that. And most people are cool with it, but there's some people that get like upset. Like that's not the answer they wanted. And I'm just like, well, what do you want from me, man? Like, well, I like to work out because it feels good.
Well, what you just said, you ask anybody and they give you visuals. They tell you visual representations. They're like, like food prepping, because they're literally, you can tell what the picture that they're seeing in their head. They're seeing it's like, I don't know, doing like a psychedelic trip. You can literally see the images that they're thinking. It's like, I'm seeing all the prep containers laid out, like all that. I'm going to look great. And it's like, health is none of those things. Health is not discipline. Health is none of those things. Health is you waking up in the morning and being like, dude, I feel good.
Yeah.
Like, because if I feel good, I can go to the gym.
I have everything I need.
Yeah. Yep. Health is internal. And the problem is that like that body, the business and relationship, those are external.
Absolutely.
And everybody, we all grow up, and it's like no fault to ourselves because there's no unforeseen hand doing this to us. It's just the conditioning our parents had, societies had, all this. But at the same time, we all say society, like you're part of society, I'm part of society. We're all, every time you're pointing a finger at society, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. Yeah. So it's like you're a part of that society. And by trying to abide and squeeze it sounds dirty, but your square peg into the round hole that you think society is.
You say that every day. You love that it sounds like that.
It's what? That sounds dirty. Yeah, I have to
I didn't mean that.
Just quick preface. But it's like, you try doing that all the time until you step back and you go, man, we're all actually just doing the same thing. I got to keep up with them. No, they're doing the same fucking thing you're doing. They think they have to be this to be. They don't see this, and you're over here like, oh, I feel so insecure. Like I have this zit on my nose, and nobody sees that zit on their nose because Becky over there is talking about her split ends, and Tom thinks he has a fat ass, and everybody has their own things, and that's why we're all so defensive. Yeah, because we are so afraid of lack in our lives.
I always tell people, like they keep saying like, oh, this is what I got to do because this is what so-and-so is doing. I'm like, stop trying to be the best version of that other person over there. Like, just be the best version of you. Like, do what makes you happy. Like, because when I consult a lot of these companies, they try to, mimic what other people are doing. And I'm like, listen, it's a very simple game in marketing. Like, stop focusing, like focus more on building relationships, building a culture. Like at the end of the day, most of these fitness brands or just really any brands, like, there's only so many, like, as far as different ones. At the end of the day, you're just competing with someone that has essentially the same product. But what separates you from them? Like you have to, in order to be authentic, like you have to do what, makes your product you, in a sense. And
you can't look up Instagram on Google and be like, what is authenticity like? And then mimic somebody else. That's not authenticity.
Exactly, yeah.
But authenticity to me is just the absence of the fear of who you really are.
Well, everybody wants to be, I want to be more authentic in this. I want to live a more authentic life. But when it comes to it, like big picture, it's like, fuck yeah, God, I can make those changes. I want to follow what I feel. I want to feel alive. I want to live in my authentic frequency. I want to know what that is. And it's like, when it comes down to it in the moments that it is where it matters most, where change happens, is when you're aware of what you do, when you're aware of what keeps you from being who you want to be and being where you want to be, making the money you want to make, and being in the relationship you want to be in, and looking the way that you want to look, is it's your inability to not only have awareness, if you do have awareness around what it is, what your cycles are, what your triggers are, what stops you from being yourself in the moment, from expressing yourself truly, from putting yourself out there. It's so hard to change it in the moment because your system it's a threat. Your system perceives it as something that's threatening your life. And so you freeze. And when your system is in survival, you can't access yourself. You can't fucking breathe. You can't access your creativity. You can't access your higher perceptual centers. And so it's like, unless you're so fucking committed to change, like it's in the moment, and it's so hard to learn. It is so hard to be present, especially when you just learn that you've never been present your whole life. And you're like, oh fuck.
Well, what was it like when you had like climbed and got to the top of Mount Everest the first time?
I've never climbed Mount Everest.
You've never climbed there?
No.
So what does it feel like?
I don't know. I would imagine not good.
So the experience has never happened in your life, which means you don't have it. There's nothing been significantly enough of an experience to create an emotional signature in your body.
This reminds me of what's that movie with Matt Damon where he's like a genius? You know what I'm talking about?
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting.
I've never actually watched it.
Great.
Me neither.
I actually just know
movie.
that because I heard he was a genius in that movie, and I was like,
well,
what an
but what you're saying though reminds me of part of that movie because Robin Williams is brilliant in that. It's a great movie. You guys should watch it. But at the end or towards the end, he's talking about like Matt Damon kept the reason he got connected with Robin Williams was like a psychologist therapist for him, and Matt Damon just kept breaking the other psychologists and therapists, like breaking him down, making him cry. Like, I can't work with him. He's out of this. And so Robin Williams addressed him and was just like, I could probably say, you could probably, talk about the cathedral in, what is it, like Europe or something. And he's like, and you could probably tell me all the facts about it, but you've never actually stood in there and smelled, the oak wood from the chairs and seen the painting and felt like the cold air. He's like, you can only tell me what you read in a book. And that's the difference between you and me is, I've actually experienced these things and you've just read about them. Right. And that's where he kind of encourages him to stop living in a bubble and stop, like don't waste your gift, like go out there and try to actually experience things. And
that's an analogy.
Yeah,
that's an analogy.
That's a perfect analogy.
The most beautiful analogy.
Yeah.
Because if you really break it all down, it's instead of thinking situational. So if you have a person who makes like, I don't know, let's say $30 million a year. This year they made $10 million. And you have a person that makes like $10,000 a year. They're on all kinds of disability, all kinds of things. They're barely getting by, stressed day after day. This year, this dude only made $10 million. Do you think this person that gets $10,000 a year wants to hear this millionaire speak about being broke and how scared he is? No, because they go situationally, I would be fucking great if I had $10 million. So pain is relative. Yeah. And we all try to put each other, like we're all, like we try to
keep on the same level.
Well, we try to pretend that we're all on the same scale. You're not on anybody else's scale. And I love the analogy of like, analogy, is like if I kick you in the side of your knee and blow out your ACL and just shatter your kneecap, you're laying on you're laying on the ground in so much pain. Yeah. Now, if I walk out on the street and I shoot somebody in the chest, you go to the ER is going to take them in first because they're going to say life-threatening situation. Yeah. But are you walking any faster? And does your knee hurt any less? No.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So while you can sit there and be like, I'm so grateful that I didn't get shot in the chest, this hurts really fucking bad, and this is going to screw up my life so bad. So what we do is we go, I don't have it as bad as some people. And so we spend our whole life undervaluing who and what we are and not addressing our issues because we go, like somebody else has got it worse. I don't have a bullet in my chest, so I don't even need to get surgery done or any kind of rehab. So we don't ever address it. Or we lie about it. We expound on it. We manufacture how much pain because we feel so inadequate and this is where it becomes full circle for that up to 50% of your story is made up is because you're constantly holding on to your struggles in life, your story in life of your traumas, your pain. Oh, yeah. Because you always need to have that shit in your back pocket for when you do not accomplish the stuff that you want to accomplish in life. This is why. And this is what you can tell the world. It's your story. And every time you tell that story, you compound it that much more and you strengthen it the same exact way that if you're in the gym training and you have an imbalance and you keep training as opposed to rehabbing that, you are going to literally strengthen an imbalance till one day it snaps. Yep. Because it can't support it anymore. So
when you look at your emotions and the way that you think about things that operate in the world, in an analogy of a muscle or understanding your body, it makes sense. Yeah. There's principles.
Well, so I guess to answer your question, what is Project This Is Me? I was like, 45 minutes later. Yeah. Like, what is Project This?
You just like pass out right now.
It's the culmination of both of our entire lives.
Okay.
And on an ongoing basis. Like you said, like most people think they have to wait until they're through something to share. Dude, anything we experience and go through, it just becomes part of our business. It's all love. It's literally, you hear people be like, all love. And you're like, all right, you tree hugging hippie. I get it. I used to think that way. And it's because I had pain that I didn't want to look at. And I had pain that I couldn't access. So what we actually do in a multitude of different ways, we do subconscious reprogramming so that people can remove the blocks that they have zero idea that even exist.
Yeah. So if someone decides, all right, they've signed up, they're going to come, like, how does the process work out for like a new addition to the squad?
So great. First of all, great question. So what we found is that this type of work is, first of all, it's the hardest fucking thing that you'll ever do in your life, ever. No, hands down.
Well, I think let's explain that before, because like
widen that
concept. Only because like,
well, it's take me through a process. Say like I sign up, and then obviously we're gonna have to meet or something. Like how does it start from there?
Well, I just want to break down real quick what she said, when this is the hardest work you've ever done, because that's triggering to a lot of people. And there'd be a lot of people that could hear that right now and be like, fuck this shit, and turn it off. But
so dumb.
Hear this out. Just give me this, is that people will be like, well, what about addiction? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sucks. That's awful. What about attempted suicide? So bad. Like, that's a huge proponent of why we do what we do. Because, so how can you say that this kind of work is going to be the hardest thing I'll ever do? Why did you want to commit suicide?
Yeah, I was going to say it's all rooted.
What drove you to addiction? What are you trying to mask? What are you running away from? This.
Yeah. I experienced a medically assisted detox from drugs and alcohol 3 times before I could even open my eyes to the fact that there was something rooted. There was a root, and I just wasn't. I wasn't ready to face that. But yeah, so addiction. I firsthand, I know it's.
For everyone getting mad at like hearing this shit right now, think about this. You're literally addicted to your story. You're addicted to your process and what your reality is, as opposed to going, man, maybe I don't have to carry this around with me every day.
And when we say addicted, it's fucking chemically in your body. We become addicted to our stories and the pain that we receive every day, the emotional signature that we are used to craving, that keeps us where we're at, that keeps us from change.
Oh yeah.
So it's an addiction.
I used to be like a huge, like a habitual liar. Like I had serious self-confidence issues that I would just make shit up. I would lie about things that, like, what was the point? And it was because I was so afraid of being seen as like lesser, that like, I'm talking dumb shit. Like someone would be like, you go see that movie? I was like, yeah, never fucking saw a movie, but I didn't want to be left out.
And then what happens? You immediately tighten your asshole and you're like, oh God, please don't ask
me. Well,
about
what happened was I had good fucking friends that called me out. And I was so, and like, I had one friend, his name's Bo. Bo, if you're watching, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Bo would not only call me out, but he would investigate. If he thought something was a lie, it used to piss me off. But it pissed me off because I knew I was lying. And he would find the truth, and then he would call me out. And I mean, he would not break. Like he would.
It's a good friend. That's a
really good friend. And so
that's love. That's love.
Yeah. And my other friend Parker, he would he'd do the same thing. Like, what are you doing? Like, why do you care what people think? Like, fuck them. That became like a quote of ours. It's like, fuck them. Like, if they're not, if I feel like I have to change who I am and lie all the time, like, these probably aren't people I want to be around. So fuck them.
Well, and
Today's episode is brought to you by CBD Online Xpress. CBD Online Xpress is a fresh, up-and-coming CBD company that strives to offer the highest quality products at an affordable price to help you in your everyday life. They offer a variety of products such as tinctures, edibles, flower, and even their new recreational line, Oxed Up. They also have plans to introduce water and an energy drink later this year. Go to cbdonlineexpress.com and get your products today.
Crazy thing is, the people that you think you have to lie to be around are lying to you because they think they have to lie to be around you. Mm-hmm. And it's like, so for more or less, anybody who's listening to this, that's like, oh, I struggle with anxiety every day. I'm stressed. Like, dude, like the way you see the world, just know it's not that way. Mm-hmm. And it's okay. And the people that you are so afraid of, like, I'm saying this with love. I'm not talking down. I struggled with anxiety in my life before plenty of times. And it's like, it's the anxiety is expectation. Mm-hmm. And it's the fear of your expectation not being met in the future. Yep. And the difference is you also experience excitement the same way, because you wouldn't have an expectation if you weren't excited. Yep. So people just ignore the exciting part of it though. So your excitement creates an expectation like, whoa, man, what if I could do this? Mm-hmm. Like everything you're doing. Yeah. There's the expectation of what you want to see it all big picture 30 years from now and be able to look back and be like, yep, that became what I wanted it to be. And every bit you're putting into it. So there's an expectation. The fear that we all have starting a business is like, fuck, what if it doesn't come to fruition? Oh. Anxiety, I don't know what it's going to be yet. So it's like, why don't you, instead of saying you have anxiety and telling yourself that over and over and over, dude, just tell yourself you're full of anticipation. Yeah. It's the bridge between excitement and anxiety.
And the practical, tangible way to do that right now is like as at the energy of what he is saying, we're all pulling up, accessing in our minds what anxiety feels like to us, what it feels like to have that happening, what's firing. And so we are taking ourselves.
Probably relax right now because people checking in with their brains right now.
Right.
Listen to this.
Everybody listening, if you can tap into it, or maybe you already feel it, it's an anxious energy. We're creating it by receiving that and painting the picture in our minds and then creating the emotion in our body. And so it's like, oh, fuck, now I have anxiety. And then you start a cascade of thoughts that you attach to. And you're like, fuck, I'm not, fuck, my mom fucking hates me. Everybody judges me. I'm fat. I'm a piece of shit. I don't understand my finances. I'm fucking fake on Instagram. Whatever it is. And it's a cycle and it's a spiral. And then you lead yourself to whatever your self-destructive place is. And we all do it. We
your special cocktail.
Our cyclical, creations of that perpetuate our stagnation. But in real life, tangible, applicable ways like this work, it's so, but to talk about it's abstract, it's consciousness, it's intangible, but to bring it into your body, which is your subconscious, it holds a memory of everything you've ever experienced ever in your life and the emotional signature of it. So when you're experiencing something like listening to a podcast where we're talking about the process of experiencing anxiety and you start creating it in your body, you can go, I can understand that. I maybe logically, I don't really get the pieces, but I feel it in my body. So I understand it in my body. So let me tune in more. Let me become aware of myself. And so if you're doing that right now, just become aware of yourself, take your attention. And if you're driving, obviously put your eyes on the road and whatever you're doing, but
hopefully they've been on there the
you
whole
can
time.
take a second attention and you can put it on what your body, like being in your body and what you're experiencing in your body.
How do you do that?
Well,
what's the easiest way to do that?
So
mushrooms.
Yes, but your most powerful and always accessible tool that you have with you every second of your life is your breath, and it's you breathe no matter what without even fucking thinking about it. And usually most of us are just like all the time, all day in survival mode, that we're just not really breathing to the capacity that would fucking feel good. And so when we take a second and like, okay, well, if my breath is this, my connection to life and it's the most powerful tool I have. Okay, fuck it. I'm already feeling into these things and the energy of these things we're talking about. So take a deep breath. But as you're thinking about how you're going to do it, just relax your asshole really fast.
Yeah.
Just do it. Everybody relax it.
When people hear that, it sounds
the advice I thought.
So, and if you did it, like do it again right now, and you're going to go,
it.
oh my God, you're going to go, shit, I literally tightened right back up because like you hear asshole and everyone's like, oh, sexual stuff. Haha. Fart, but it's like I'm like mature. So, come on. No, but it's like that's like your sense of safety.
Yeah,
that's your sense of safety. And then literally look at social media with fitness. Everyone's always thinking they have to post these amazing lifts and everything to gain credibility. No joke. Like I'm serious. Like the fucking butt pose that girls do, where you're so twisted around and you're.
Like the worms from Men in Black,
and you're sucking your belly and everything, and everything's so flexed and so tight all the time, dude. The thing that holds all your emotion, your psoas,
muscle
is
of the soul.
Oh my God! Like, and people hear that and they're like, no, they're like, you guys are hippies, and it's like, dude, your body literally holds. So your brain is a record of every memory you've ever had, and your body is a record of every experience and emotion you've felt, and so it's like. People they always think everything starts in your brain. Mm-hmm. And we actually heard it today because it was about something, we were watching something in space, and it was like, the brain, like the command center. Yeah. And
Apollo 13.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about Apollo 13.
Mission Control.
Mission Control. Yes.
This is an analogy of how to, this is an analogy, and we'll get into like the actual, what relaxing your asshole does for you and what the breath can do for you, and we'll do it together. But first, if you listen to this as an analogy in a way that you can maybe just allow yourself to receive a different perspective, a different way of perceiving yourself and your brain, and so experience that analogy as something that could be expansive in your understanding, and it's really cool. So it's literally he created this today from we were watching a snippet of Apollo 13.
So it's like, hey, thanks for the prep.
Go get him, slugger.
All right, so it's like when in Apollo 13, we have mission control, and people refer to your brain as the mission control center of yourself. and the reality of it is even what mission control is, because when I heard that, it wasn't Apollo 13. We saw Apollo 13 the other day, and it was something about the brain, about psychology we were watching earlier today, and like the brain's the mission control. And I was like, man, I hate that. I hate it that people say that, because people think your brain runs everything. And then I was like, well, wait, like there's mission control. I was like, mission control, what is mission control? I was like, that's not the actual astronauts on the spaceship in outer space. And that's what we are. We all think our brain runs everything. And they're like, the way I feel runs everything. Like I feel sick. And because I feel sick, it's controlling, everything's controlling my life. And it's like, dude, those times when you're contemplating suicide, contemplating making a decision that you don't want to do, if you're addicted to something and you're going, man, I don't want to fucking actually do this. I need my fix though. It's like, what is that voice going, I don't want to do this? Because your brain is the thing going, give me that shit. Like, give me my fix, give me my cocktail that I need to have the chemical release within my body that I know that is familiar to me, that makes sense.
The safety.
What is that thing? What is the thing outside of it that's going, this isn't you? What the fuck is happening? Yeah. And it's your consciousness. It is literally your consciousness. And people typically want to be like, oh, so woo-woo. It's like, everyone thinks we are humans trying to seek out a spiritual experience. And like, our firm belief is that, dude, we are spiritual. We are energy, getting to have this in-body human experience for a certain amount of time. Yeah. And it's like, just like an astronaut going to the moon, you have to wear an astronaut costume. I'm like, don't do an astronaut. Don't get it at like Holiday City.
It's like face paint of the helmet.
They're like, it didn't work out. You're done.
He was dead inside.
But it's like, this is your meat suit. It's just like, you're just walking around in this. And that's what it is. Yep. It's the opportunity to experience this world.
Reminds me of being like really drunk in a bathroom at a house and looking at yourself and be like, hey, I'm really in this bitch. Like, I'm controlling this.
Get your shit together. Like, whoa. But it's like when you can, it gives you permission to say, man, I don't have to keep this identity that I've created for myself to protect myself of things I thought I've had to be, of things that I've thought I've had to say and do, and the ways that I've allowed myself to show up because of my fear of truly being myself, and what are the consequences of that. And because from such a young age, every single one of us experience something that tells us that it's not safe to be ourselves. And a second ago, when Grant was talking about something about like your comfort zone where your brain tries to keep you, I said it's not safe, and I didn't mean safe in the way that it's like we all crave safety. We crave what it feels like to be safe and fully loved and accepted and held. But it's safe because we think it's safe because it's known. And it's like, well, I don't like this shit where I'm at, but at least I know what the fuck it is, because I don't know what is beyond this. And everything I've ever experienced in my life, and my nervous system fucking tells me so. It's not safe to allow myself to experience something greater than what I know, because what the fuck is that? So it's beyond your perspective. Yep. So that's where comes an analogy. So when you can understand your brain, by using an analogy, I'm actually not my brain. I'm not my thoughts. I am the awareness that experiences everything in my body. So I actually can override my system. I can override my physiology and my fucking thoughts, because they're not actually my thoughts. They're just conditioned things and things I've experienced and learned and received.
And as you listen to this, you can go, like, you can hear bits and pieces and you're like, shit, like that makes sense. It's formulation. So, and the way we describe it is, have you ever watched CSI?
Of course.
Like when somebody gets shot with a bullet, right before it enters the body, the camera angle goes behind, it shows it going in, and it will, like, you literally watch the skin split open, and then it'll slow it down and show it ricocheting off a rib, and then what it does, and you're like, man, I never would have saw it like that. So you have the point of view of what's actually happening within you, and that's what formulation does for you. You actually see what's happening within you, because without that formulation, you're just like, I'm a piece of shit. Yeah. I'm a piece of shit, and I have a lot of pain that I don't want to. Why would I look at it? I operate this way. I just go. So
it makes you angry.
Y'all like iPhone people or Samsung?
I'm iPhone.
Okay,
Team iPhone all the way.
And I'm nothing against Samsung or Android or what.
Shit sucks. Whatever it's called.
Whatever you weirdos with a better camera.
The green text.
Call it. But
their camera's not even that good.
But so like, have you ever seen that shit where you go into, or like you see it on Instagram, and they'll be like, oh, if you don't want people knowing your location, there's this cool thing you do, and you go into the back, and you go here, and you go here, and you go here, and you're like, fuck, what are all these things running in the background? I didn't even know this was a thing.
All the time.
And then all of a sudden, you shut off the default settings. And as you shut off the default settings, that phone feels like it's more yours. It's like, it feels more personal. Like, I'm in charge of this now. These motherfuckers, I didn't even know that was happening. And there's part of you that wants to kind of like kick yourself in the ass and be like, man, I'm so stupid, because everybody loves a good little self-deprecation. It's like, I'm so stupid. How did I let that happen? And it's, dude.
It's more of like a humorous awakening. Like, you're like, oh man, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, I learn shit every day, and I'm like, instead of like bringing myself down, I'm like, oh, well, that was kind of cool to learn. Like,
well, you're only capable of learning because you don't think you know everything.
Oh yeah. I don't know shit.
You're willing.
People get so mad at me for having this brand, and they think I'm supposed to be some like nutrition expert or fitness, like, master. I'm like, I don't know.
You're just eating that Pop-Tart. Like,
I'm like, I just was eating a pizza.
I just got a vision. I'm just a guy with a vision.
Yeah. I just took something and ran with it. It created an opportunity. A lot of people, I've talked about this before, and this might kind of coincide with what you guys are saying, but a lot of people are afraid to, even attempt or try something because they're so scared of failure. And that's kind of, I said this like 2 episodes ago. It's from that movie, Little Miss Sunshine. Today's episode is brought to you by Line 1 Nutrition. Since their inception 13 years ago, Line 1 Nutrition has steadily grown into one of the most trusted supplement companies in the world, consistently formulating groundbreaking muscle-building supplements enjoyed throughout the USA and at military bases around the world. Excellent customer service is a staple of Line 1 Nutrition and is a big reason they've maintained a dedicated customer base with clients who reorder time and again. Line 1 Nutrition's products aren't the garden variety proteins and pre-workouts found on the shelf. They've spent years developing a line custom engineered to exceed normal standards and meet every need, from mind-blowing pre-workouts to incredible joint support with CBD and even green energy Malaysian kratom, which provides fantastic stress-reducing, anti-inflammatory properties that benefit athletes of any kind. But where Line 1 has really made their mark is with their lean muscle-building supplements. No other company can match Line 1's unique, potent, proven effective muscle builders. The bottom line is, if you're serious about taking your physique to the next level, visit www.line1nutrition.com today and use code AFC15 to save 15% off your entire order. And he goes, the girl's talking to her grandpa, and she thinks she's a loser. And she's like, am I a loser? And he's like, what? Like, you're not a loser. He's like, you know what a loser is? A loser is a person that is so scared of failure, they won't even try. And I always stuck with me, because it's like, when I struggle, there's individuals that'll tell me just to give up. It's easier to quit and things like that. But then I'm kind of like, yeah, but like, then I take a step back and I'm like, but look at everything I've gotten done so far. Like, this is just a hiccup. This is just a problem for me to solve. It's not forever. Like, it's a temporary, wall, but I'll just get through it, just like I got through everything else. So,
it would be dope for those people, and like for those people to experience, and anyone, all of us together, is for them to know that, like, whatever it is that you reflect to them that makes them feel like angry, which, like an insecurity of themselves, that I'm not that, or I don't know how to be that, or I'm not good, I'll never be that. It's really like powerful when someone can realize that you experience those same things, those same moments, those same thoughts, those same judgments, those same moments of like extreme anxiety, and where you have a choice, and when we can all understand on such a just like profound level that we all experience the same things, all of us in every regard, we all have a fucking nervous system. We're all afraid of so many things that aren't actually there, that no one else would ever understand. So we're all in that journey alone, but also together, because we all are on it. So it's like,
is there, oh, I'm sorry, actually go.
Just for a second, we're all on it. So if we're all the same, and Grant says this all the time, we're all the same, but that doesn't mean that everybody gets a trophy. It's like, we are all made of the same things. We're all the same thing, just in a different covering and a different skin suit. And we decorate it differently. We take care of it differently. We show up differently. We carry ourselves differently. But when you can just like realize how profound that is for 1 second, you can be like, I'll fuck around with like some deep breathing for a second. I'll breathe into my belly to feel what that is, because that's beyond, I feel these things, but it's beyond like what I know to be true. But like, I can't deny something that feels right. Yeah. And that's where we get into the realm of like, of becoming the creator, and talking about becoming fucking quantum. And it starts with something primal, your breath. And so like what we do with ourselves and daily and with our clients and with people we just met and our families and strangers.
Strangers at the airport.
It's like, yo, like just take a breath. And so we do, it's just like, if you just take a breath through your nose, like in a really intentional one, and you breathe all the way down into your belly, just like.
Actually start this, just like a lifting cue. Start the movement with intentionally pushing your belly out to begin with. Otherwise, you're going to notice it's very difficult because you've restricted it for so long.
We're taught, right? I got to have a small waist. So when you expand your belly with expectation, like I'm just going to breathe into this motherfucker, like, and then you do it with like will and conviction and desire to be something greater, to be better.
Hey, let's do 3 breaths. Let's do 3 breaths. So if you're in your car, it's like you're just driving, like you don't have to close your eyes or pause this and do it in a minute with us. Actually, don't do it while you're driving, just for
liability.
Liability. There we go. So all we're going to do is we're going to take 3 deep breaths. We're going to go in through our nose. You're not going to give a shit what anybody thinks of how you look, but bring your awareness to how weird it feels. Like
really just expanding your belly as far as it'll go.
Because it kind of it gives you the same sensation as like karaoke, because breathing, making noise is an expression of yourself, and how much we've all, regardless of anything, have spent so much of our lives suppressing our expression. So 3 deep breaths. We're going to go in through the nose. You start by pushing out your belly. And as you
get in on this, John?
Yeah.
You see that belly pop through that shirt.
So you're going to get it up. And as soon as you hit the top, as deep as you can go, you're just out through your mouth. You can let some noise happen with it.
We'll do one first.
Yeah.
And also just, if you can, straighten up your spine, like sit up straight. So we'll just do one together, just in through our nose.
Let's go full optimum.
Let's go quantum.
All right. So
I'm ready.
So
John's fired up.
So sit upright. Take your hips and kind of roll them underneath you, like what would be butt wink.
Tuck them under.
So seriously, for a lack of a better way of thinking about it, it's like if you were trying to like roll your dick up into your belly button.
Twerking on this chair right now.
If you were trying to roll your dick into your belly button without moving your legs.
Yeah, bring your pelvis, up.
And the equivalent for females, I'm sorry.
A pelvic thrust towards your face.
So while you're doing that, you should feel relief in your lower back, because that's your psoas. Your psoas attaches in your lower lumbar and reaches down in your thigh. So
and releases the energy in your lower back.
So you have your hips rolled underneath you. Now take your chest, push it forward, lower the shoulders. So now check back in with your hips, make sure those hips are still rolled with the chest forward. Now take your chin and like you're just tucking it straight back, giving yourselves as many chins as you can. So keep your face completely even, still forward, and just take it back. Give yourself a bunch of chins.
And if you're not driving, you can close your eyes. It feels pretty cool.
And now where you're at with those hips rolled underneath you, your chest pushed forward, so your thoracic coming forward, your neck pushed back. Your spine is in total alignment.
And Grant and I are going to breathe like this, in through our nose and out through our mouth. So we'll just do that 3 times. And again, if you're not driving and you want to fuck around and like grow, just close your eyes and allow yourself to relax.
Don't close your eyes and drive.
If you're not driving, you can close your eyes.
So, and here's the thing for everyone going like, Jesus, it's just a breath. Like, why? I'm like, okay,
shut up.
When's the last time you've ever intentionally breathed? Like, thank your goddamn body right now, because you've never had to go, oh man, think about breathing really quick. So here we go. So hips underneath, chest forward, chin back. Here we go. In through the nose.
Big belly.
Out through the mouth. Push it all the way out.
Even bigger belly this time.
In through the nose.
Out through the mouth.
Last one, the biggest one you have yet. In through the nose. Out through the mouth.
And you can just acknowledge the change in your physiology.
Is it different?
Feel better.
What do you feel?
More relaxed, but almost like a good stretch. Like you got that refurbished feeling.
So people, it's crazy how much we'll undervalue 3 legit breaths like that. If you don't experience something from that, not like blaming the client, but you're not doing it. It is difficult. Like what you have to do is check back in with yourself and be like, man, am I letting myself expand my belly? And this was the craziest, most profound realization I ever had. And it was from my first plant medicine ceremony ever. Throughout the whole thing is, and what we do for ours is you don't see anything. You don't have images. Like you're out of it, you feel. So you imagine feeling an image. Imagine feeling a memory. And it's just like, it's in you, but it's fucking blended together with 6 billion other things, everything you've ever seen, experienced, and it's all happening at once. And you have a little bit of awareness of what's going on, but you're just kind of like laid back, and we have our shaman taking care of us. And I remember my hands were on my hips the whole time. And I was like, God, like, let yourself go, do whatever. Don't judge yourself. But, you know, I was in front of her and two of our very good friends. And a shout out to Ben Pekulski, who actually is in Talia. They're the ones who introduced us to it. So
and to Whitney.
Yeah, and Whitney, our shaman, most Whitney. Amazing. Here in Austin as well.
Yeah, with ATMA, All Tribes Medicine Assembly.
So what is a shaman for people that might not know?
A guide.
A healer.
Because I feel like a lot of the people that either watch the show or they see this stuff, you know, it's very like they might like dismiss it, you know, whether it's due to ego or uninterested. But I feel like a lot of people that see that, they're almost like, oh, that's like the biggest misconception I can see coming from this is they feel like everything we're talking about, you know, spiritual feelings, psychology, like, and I know this from experience too. I don't think like this anymore, but in the past I would be like, go away, you're weird. And I did it to church people too. Like one of my closest friends is actually a pastor, and a ton of fun on the weekends. I used to hate him during the week because he just get overly spiritual. And but the thing is like, they almost feel like, oh man, look at all this. Like I can't have fun anymore. Like I can't go out like all this because, you know, it almost conflicts with what they're teaching me. And I feel like that's probably a huge misconception. Like you don't actually have to stop having fun and like living, you know, a very like relaxed and social life. Like these are just practices to help, you know, live a more authentic life. I would almost say.
This is so you can have fun.
Yeah.
When's the last time anybody had fun? Like I'm not talking about just like the momentary high and then like, I'm talking about like you do some dope shit. You have a blast. You go on a vacation and you come home, and when you come home, you're just as fucking excited to get home to your life and everything else because it was your life the entire time. Yep. You know, it's not this, you're not compartmentalizing your life in these ways of like, okay, I get to have fun here. I get to do this. And it's like, nobody has fun because we're always so worried. We're worried about what we look like, and it's our feelings. We don't understand ourselves. Am I enough? Do I look pretty enough? Is this the right outfit? What's my muffin top doing? What do these people think of me? Do I look like I have enough money? Again, it's the external that we're trying to use to fill the internal voids. Yep. And then at the end, we're just like, shit, this kind of sucks.
We have such a problem as all of us with bridging what we truly want and desire and what we've been told we can't have or can't be. Yeah. And you said it, pastor, religion. I want to be happy. I want to feel joy. I want to express myself. I want to know what it feels like to be alive. I want to feel primal. I want to enjoy sex. I want to understand my body. I want to use my voice. I want to feel the power of who I am. But I've been taught and conditioned, even if I don't go to church, I don't believe in, I'm not religious. I've been indoctrinated with the belief that if I do these things, ultimately it does make me bad. And I don't know if I can let go of that self-judgment because it's ultimately an ability to fully accept yourself. Yeah. Because when have you ever been taught how or what that is? And so it ties so deeply into religion, and it's hard for people to talk about because you can start saying God or Christ and people will be like, I'm going to change this podcast. I'm going to fucking change the station because that was me, because I received indoctrination, and then I also said like I don't believe in this shit, and it was whatever. But I also learned so many things of ultimately what spirituality represents. It's existential. It's your existence. It's when you can't sleep at night. Well, what the fuck is going to happen to me? What is eternity? What is purgatory? What is hell? What is heaven? And it's things that there's been a picture painted. Yeah. And so we walk this line of saying like, yo, you can fucking love God. You can say fucking and God in the same sentence and use them together and emphasize it and say it with love, the most pure love. Because if you think about it, if you are whatever your God is, whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, or what that is, what spirituality is to you,
what that idea of God, like.
People were all afraid of it.
Essentially, yeah. Like
your spiritual attachment.
What it says about you. Like, I know what I've always thought about people that go to church all the time. I fucking judge that shit. I reject it because I'm not that. I don't want to be told. I don't want to have to conform to these things because it doesn't feel right. But I've always been told that I'm not allowed to say what feels right. I'm not allowed to do what feels right. I'm not allowed to be what feels right. And so if you can say, well, for me, what is my religion? And we say it's love. And what is love? It's freedom. It could be God if you want it to be. It's truth. And so when you align yourself with truth, if your only fucking discipline is truth to yourself, which is feeling good every day, it's what is your truth? Do you want to express yourself sexually? And what is it, something that somebody or typically society would judge or shame someone for? What is it that you want? And what feels good to you is your true nature. It is expressing yourself in the fullest extent, the truest way that you can, truth. And when you do that, you experience a profound level of love. And that love allows you to continue expanding into anything and everything. It becomes, again, the realm of creator. But you said it like, Grant and I have conversations all the time. He is a pastor. He gives sermon, and it hypnotizes people. It's an energy, and it becomes so much. The words are beautiful, but it's so much more about the way that he says. It's the energy that you receive from it, and it's freedom, it's liberation, it's love, it's truth. Yeah. And for some people, that is God. And so you're allowed to redefine what things are to you, and you're allowed to say, like, these things feel good to me, even though I have struggled my whole life to accept myself because of what I thought that meant. And so it's like church has a stigma to me, church has a stigma to him, but like our message and what we do and like why we do it and the way that we live our lives is a living, breathing way of religion or whatever you would call that. And it's because we live for ourselves, and to us that is all there is. That is truth. That is everything. And when you can align yourself with what that is for you, then that's freedom. And then it's like, wow, man, I used to worry about the concept of what hell was, but actually I've realized that hell is living in my mind, living in my thoughts and condemning myself and hating myself. And that's actually the opposite of love and heaven, what it feels like to accept yourself fully, to have a moment of bliss and feel free of everything that you have always judged yourself for. And so it becomes permission. Freedom is permission. Religion is permission. And it's like when you can redefine something like that, and you can say it to someone's face who has such a strong belief about what God is and what you're allowed to be and what you can't be. And it's coming from such a place of deep pain because they'll never get to be what they want to be because of what they think that means. And setting someone free from that is the most incredibly fulfilling thing that you could ever experience in your life. Well,
kind of on a like
that
the
was
other
absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was just like processing. No, well, everything you're saying, what would you say, I guess, to someone that would almost challenge this concept, this lifestyle, that would go, I'm hearing a lot of love, acceptance, inner spirituality, all this, but what if, like, with, on the basis of something like religion, there's also right and wrong, where do you guys kind of draw a line where there's certain morals?
What do you mean by right and wrong?
Well, like, if
we believe, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think I registered exactly what you're. It's actually really simple to us. There are no rules in this world. There are no rules as long as you are not hurting or causing harm to another person or getting in anyone else's way of getting to the things they want in life, which includes you aren't stepping on people to get, like, you're not using people to your advantage to get to where to advance yourself. You're taking responsibility for those people, and that's what makes us all leaders. And if we're all leaders, we wouldn't all be followers.
Well, also. And that's kind of where I'm touching on, is because it's become such a thing today where now you have a growing group of any type of individual that are trying to justify something that could be perceived as morally wrong or not okay, but it's how they feel. And so it's okay because it's my truth, it's my lifestyle. So it's like, where do you draw a certain line like that, which is,
it's bullshit. It's bullshit because they're looking for the world to validate the things that they can validate. Their pain. Again, it's the getting shot in the chest versus getting your ACL blown out. And I realize it sounds very minute compared to like social injustices and all these things. It's that and like, I'm not denying that there's painful things and horrible shit that happens in this world, but it's like, if we're going to spend our entire life looking for that to be what repairs it, dude, you're going to die miserable. You're going to die miserable, bitching, complaining, and blaming everybody else for everything. It's like, take that same exact energy and transmute it into like creating what you want. I don't fucking care how hard it is. And people are going to go, well, that's easy for you to say. Says what? How do you know? Do you know me? Do you know everything I've experienced in life? No. And just so you know, the thing that you're thinking of that is so bad and why you judge everyone else because you're going, oh, they don't have it as bad as I do. It's relative. We already covered that. Like, it's all relative.
And
we experience the same.
I wanted to, like, for example, today's episode was sponsored by HulkBuilt Fitness. HulkBuilt is your go-to online coach for weight loss. HulkBuilt serves high-performing individuals who know how to work hard but who are just tired of putting themselves or their body to the wayside. They provide a holistic long-term approach where they teach you how to lose weight and keep it off. HulkBuilt combines fitness, nutrition, cardio, and mindset in an easy-to-follow plan. Now, if you're looking for shortcuts, quick fixes, or temporary results, HulkBuilt is not for you. Why keep trying to put all the pieces together on your own and wade through the bullshit? Instead, simply follow the plan and get results. Your HulkBuilt coach will be there with you every step of the way. If you're ready to take the next step, then go to Instagram at HulkBuilt and send a direct message. If you don't hear back within 24 hours, then all of their spots have been filled. Try HulkBuilt today. Well, and I know this just from, I was watching, I always end up watching like random shit on like Reels or stuff like that. But for example, there's this big, what's it called? Like controversy of, trying to push like sexuality on kids in elementary schools and stuff. Now, teachers are going to be like, this is okay. It's acceptance. It's things like that. But, then there's the other side of people that believe like, just let kids be kids. Like, let's teach them things like that, So that's kind of where I'm, proposing the question of like where you draw the line of, accept who you are, like love yourself, grow spiritually, things like that. But kind of like what you're saying, don't push, almost walk over people like that.
Do you know why at age 25, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, you struggle to open a Christmas present in front of somebody? It's because you don't know how to receive. Because when you were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, while you were developing, somebody said something to you, like, you don't deserve that. I can't remember the exact speaker who says it, has a great analogy of it. It's like if a kid goes into a store and he's with his dad and he sees a toy when he's leaving and he goes, Dad, I want that. And let's say he's like 5, 6 years old. He doesn't have logical thinking yet.
Yeah.
He goes, Dad, I want that. And the dad, really stressed out, is like, no, you can't have it. And he goes, but please, I want it. He's like, no, you can't have it. And he goes, please, I want it, because kids are insistent. And he snaps. And he goes, you don't deserve it. You haven't behaved well enough. You're not getting the toy. He doesn't have logical thinking yet. And logical thinking is in your frontal cortex. That doesn't develop until 6, 7, 8 years old. So you don't, that's your dream state. That's theta. That's like, dude, you absorb. So
You're
whatever
sponge.
gets told to you, and you're going to go, there's no way. It's because of this boyfriend or this girlfriend and this job and this employer and this teacher that said this. No. It was a ripple effect that started back then. And you have told yourself your entire life, you're not good enough. It got anchored in. It's a conclusion. You have this really cool thing in your brain called your reticular activator, which whatever you tell it you're looking for, it finds it. So we spend our entire lives thinking if we focus on the negative threats in our life, negative things, which become threats, if we focus on them, they can't get us because we know where they're at. And another analogy is like for skiing, they tell you to, if you're skiing through the woods, if you focus on the trees, you're going to hit a tree. Focus on the path of where you're trying to go. If you focus on the threat, you're going to magnetize. You're going to literally end up crashing. So we all spend our days. We wake up in the morning so afraid. We go into the exact same routine, the exact same patterns. We take our bodies through the same motion because we're like, oh, discipline, like morning routine, all this shit. But even if you don't do that, if you don't have a set morning routine, you still have a morning routine. So you take your body through the same motion. So your body experiences the same thing. It's going through the same motion. It has the same emotions. It checks in with your brain. Your brain does the exact same thing it does every other day. Until we get to a point, the same way, when's the last time you thought about how to brush your teeth? That you were like, oh, I'm going to get this one. And
I don't know. My ex-girlfriend was a dental hygienist. She used to watch me.
Well, you know what I mean? Though you don't think about it. You don't sit there and go,
it's a habit.
You don't go,
so
did I get this one? Did I get this one? You just brush your teeth. You do 5 million different things while you're brushing your teeth because your body knows how to do it now better than your brain. It doesn't require you to think all the way down to your operating system. So we wake up, we do the same thing over and over and over. We have the same emotions. We have the same thought patterns that can reaffirm those emotions, as well as continue to add on to them ourselves from all the horrible things. And then we go, man, like, why can't I change? It's because you are taking yourself through the same exact experience day after day after day, living in the past and pulling the past into your present moment. And nobody believes that there's a present moment because we're all so afraid of our past and ashamed of our past. And we're so afraid of the future based on the things in our past. So we're living in our past or we're living in our future. And the only way you affect anything is in the present moment. Like right now is when you make, like right now.
That's why we take a breath to.
So how does this all come full circle kind of like on my initial like question of like drawing the line of like, if say someone like in one of those videos I was watching trying to, push their ideologies on children and things like that, where I guess in Project This Is Me, where are you like setting the boundaries of like, because I know you said, be free to do all that, but like boundaries, I guess, are almost necessary to an extent.
Are you talking like where are the universal truths and laws that we abide by? That's like,
yeah, I guess, yeah. Like that's kind of is overall like it's a curiosity out of mine. Yeah. Like it's not even necessarily a judgment. It's more like trying to understand like the lifestyle patterns and things you guys teach and things like that.
So Grant has a set like in volleyball for the spike, a bump, yeah,
spike,
alley-oop,
yeah, an alley-oop. So.
Throw me out of the softball.
So these are the questions, right? And it's like you don't fuck around. You're like, well, what do you think? I want to talk about this because like it is controversial, and it's like maybe it's not you want to talk about it because it's controversial, but it's controversial because of what it represents and how people attach to the pain of certain aspects and what they feel like is being taken from them or said about them or whatever it is. And so it's hard to have these conversations where you can receive information, you can receive perspective that expands your current reality. But to have that happen, it requires it to challenge you. And it requires you to challenge what you know and what you've always believed. And that's very hard because when you start challenging anything you've ever known, things become unknown. And so it when you have an opinion that is based on truth, but it becomes so hard to share it, or maybe it's not even an opinion, it's a perspective. It becomes so hard to share it because of what it represents to people and and the pain that it triggers in people. And so just to acknowledge that it is very hard to talk about these things on the level that they can be talked about, because that's where change happens, and it's change is happening no matter what. So why not influence the evolution of where we're going? And we can do that with our heart and our message, and it is what we consider our truth to be. And so it's difficult to talk about these things, but if you are open to like actual growth and like actual expansion, you can give your body permission to like relax while you're hearing something that you know will challenge you and that you know will trigger you. So
I love getting challenged. Yeah, I love questions all the time. And because I never get like defensive. Like if I'm going to speak, my opinions to someone, I welcome a challenge. And it's like, you ever listen to like Jordan Peterson? Yeah. So he has when he like stiffed that one girl that was interviewing him. That's what
the British one.
Yeah. Where he's just like, to
the wage gap.
No, it was
feminism.
No, that was a good one too, talking about bricklayers. Yeah. But the one I was talking about where they were almost they were focusing on like censorship and like offending people. And he goes like, well, to seek out truth, you must risk offending.
Oh, it's the same one with that shit.
Yeah. And he goes, you've had no issue digging at me and asking me questions, and it's been quite offensive. Yeah. But, I am open to having my thoughts challenged and things like that.
Most people can't handle being challenged because they don't know how to answer it. And they don't know how to answer it because they haven't looked at it themselves. And like flat out to answer that question, as far as we're concerned, and like our business, like we don't ever talk our business. It's like,
it's who we are.
It's just who we are. Like our business is literally just the way we live, what we do. So then I factor in like when it comes to this, like what my standards are, dude. And we have it built into our contract that if we and we'll dig into it if we think this is happening. If anybody's in the process of being harmed or about to be or going to be, or there's any future threat to another human,
like you see a risk of someone,
immediately, like we'll step in, and everyone we work with knows that, and not that it's like it's really easy to hear them be like, oh, so you just work with crazy people. And it's like, we're all crazy.
No.
We're all crazy.
We're
batshit crazy.
We're all crazy.
Mad.
What do we base it
Well,
on?
what's normal?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is like, what do we base it on? Oh, you hear voices in your head? Yeah, so do you. We all do. And that voice is you. It's your consciousness. It's the things you think. It's all these stuff. And I am not downplaying mental health by any means. No. But I'm saying we all have that.
Yeah.
And it's like we all experience those things. So, I love controversial shit too.
I do. I love talking about it all the time. In fact, it's one thing we don't talk about on the show a lot, which, it's because they hear Austin fitness community. They think we're just going to talk about like dumbbells, reps, like nutrition.
Meal prep.
I tried that in the beginning and I was like, God, this is boring. Like
Dude, that's the shit though, because people see us and they're like, yeah, like we want the fitness, and we're like, cool.
It's a very small percentage of what I want this to be. Like, because I think
it's a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
To get into people's life.
Mental health, journeys, whether it's fitness journey or spiritual journeys, like it's all part of health and wellness. And that's what kind of fitness falls under the definition of. And so, I'm always trying to have more like intellectual conversations, which is why I'm eating this up right now. I'm loving it because, a lot of people I try to talk to, they just focus back on their Instagram or TikTok, which is cool, but
like, we'll feed you, baby bird. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of one thing I'm curious about you is, and something you might be able to relate to a lot of the listeners is, since you have a very, one thing I've seen trending in a lot of these, awakening type of lifestyle coaching, spiritual, is that a lot of guys tend to sway away from it because it challenges their masculinity. And so you coming from a background of some of the most masculine shit in the world, being football, and not just football, but you played at one of the best schools ever. What is it? The Ohio State. So
I'm like everyone else will let you know.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty damn good school to go to. And so, coming from that, how did that play out to go from, playing, you said linebacker earlier, right?
Linebacker,
one of the most meanest positions, which I played that. And you have to have this like certain mindset to play a position where your job is literally to just hit people every play. How do you go from that to where you're at now?
Because my feminine, I have the strongest feminine energy for a fucking masculine guy. Yeah. and I'm not saying that to be like, oh, I'm so masculine. No, my femininity is what allows me to be masculine. And they play off of each other. You're not one or the other. See, the problem is people think it's going to challenge your masculine energy. Like it's going to get taken away from you, dude. It doesn't go away. It gets added to. There's a whole part of yourself you're denying. When people say your femininity, and they like feminine care products, like feminine.
Well, they start adding labels to it. Yeah, it's like femininity is like often viewed as just like, oh my God, like acting very like I have gay friends that like I have some gay friends that are like manly as shit, like
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing is it's not to
And then
I bet majority of people have gay friends and they have no idea they're gay because they're not flamboyant.
And that's what I was getting at. Yeah, is feminine. So that's how they view it. But they don't understand that like that's a very like exaggerated version or description of femininity. Like for me, like a feminine trait could be enjoying like a really like romantic movie. Like it doesn't make you a feminine individual. It just means you got feelings. Like,
dude, enjoying anything, or admitting you're enjoying anything, is feminine. The enjoyment
God
of it.
forbid you're happy at something.
The process of sitting there and being present to enjoy whatever is happening is very feminine.
Meditation is feminine.
It's not action. It's not doing. I need to do more. I got to go all day. Work more. Work more. Lift more. Be more. Help more people. Whatever it is. Yeah. And I do include help more people because people that are saying the shit of like, I want to impact this many people. Dude, it's not your impact. It is like you are a cocktail. The things that you help people with, it's like, it's not our impact. We are literally just a conduit of all the experiences we've each had in our life, all the pain points we've had in our lives. Like we work with men, women, old, young, every genre. I mean, over 18 because
for legal reasons
we struggle to not cuss, but no, I mean, like
cussing should be more normal anyways. Well, it's a very good form of expression and getting a point.
I really do struggle to trust people that
Yeah,
I'm like,
what are you hiding?
What the fuck's wrong with you?
But I mean, yeah. I don't even remember what we were talking about.
Masculinity.
Oh yeah, masculinity.
Femininity.
Yeah. It's not man or woman. It's not weak, strong. like they play off of each other. It's like, you want to be those dudes who go to the gym 7 days a week because you're like, oh, I got to go all the time, because you are not willing to sit and recover and repair. And it's like, only when you do that can you actually go back and progress and get better. And it's like, no, I need to go more, faster, harder, stronger, all these things. And it's like, dude, you can't do that. You tank.
If we're breaking it into fitness terms too, it's like testosterone could be masculinity and estrogen is femininity, but guess what? You have both. Like you actually need both. Like if you're just 100% test, 0% estrogen, you're gonna be fucked up.
You're not doing shit.
Yeah, your body is wrecked, and you probably look like shit.
Well, you
go ahead.
Well, it's a concept of being a whole, quote unquote, individual before you get into a relationship or try to have a conscious or intimate relationship. But so it's like you become whole, and whatever that means for you, whatever combination of things that you are, you're masculine, you're feminine, and it's just who you are. And then when you fulfill those things within you, the perceived voids and the things that your needs, and understanding how to meet them and how to be fulfilled and experience love and joy, and being able to open yourself to a partner that is capable of that type of love and intimacy, it's still not about masculine and feminine, who's what. It's about the dance. It's about the energetic dance of the exchange of our dynamic and communication. And so that's become the most powerful tool for us in our own lives to expand and advance ourselves.
Well, I think there's a huge lack of organic intimacy nowadays too. I think that a lot of people just try to fabricate this false ideology of intimacy.
He taught me intimacy. Yeah. Grant taught me what that is. To me, and most people, it's sex. People think sex.
Yeah, they just, and that's why they do some crazy shit now. And I've been meeting people, this is insane too, where they don't even refer to sex as sex, or oh, I'm gonna go fuck so and so. It's now making content, which is what? Yeah,
that's new.
That's a real thing that's been happening. It's gross.
If you looked at me and were like, "Yo, you want to go make content?" I'd be like,
"It's very strange, right?" I'd be like, "John's losing it over here."
I'd be like, what are we posting? Are we doing a reel?
Do I keep my pants on?
I'm like, you mean porn?
But you taught me what true intimacy is.
Yeah. Well, to me, that's one thing I learned, especially post breakup in my last, was a lot of it's stimulating your mind. I enjoy, I used to, years back, I was always, probably like most guys too, just Netflix and chill, things like that. But after a while, it's you can only lie to yourself for so long, where it's this is not even, I don't even know this person. Why am I having this experience? This should be something that I do with someone I actually care about. And, so I actually enjoy going on dates now. I like going out and just hanging out with people. And it's if I enjoy the conversation, I seek that out. I want to know how this person thinks, how they talk. If it's an educated conversation versus just oh, they're hot. We should probably go have sex.
Well, it's because
make content.
People. I'm gonna start saying that to you
me
all the
too.
time.
Cool.
It's been happening a lot.
We locked it in.
I think it's because people equate sex to love, and it's we're all afraid of not being loved.
Yep.
So we try to fulfill our void of love or acceptance, desire to feel desired, relevant, all of it. It's so many things. And then on top of it, sex feels good. We're one of two. It's us and dolphins, literally, that are we're the mammals that it's you get to enjoy the hell out of this. And so, taking it back to religion, and you want to, no matter what version of religion, I was indoctrinated under, Christianity, and I'm sure there's so many different things, but I don't fuck with it anymore. But it's sex is such a shameful thing. And it's and it's this, and it's God fearing. Well, why? But you're God. God is in all of us, and all the stuff that they say, and God is love. And it's so I'm supposed to be afraid of love. I'm supposed to be afraid of myself, of who I truly am. I'm supposed to be afraid of all these things. So literally people feel they're supposed to be afraid and ashamed of who they are. And if they're not, they're going to have this internal hell. And it's how do you know what comes after this? Seriously, how do you know what comes after this? You might just be foregoing this one experience, and in some religion, you just stop. When you die, it just stops. So you had this experience and you just trashed it.
Yeah.
And it's because of the fear of what comes ahead. And that's no different than being afraid to start a business. It's no different
absolutely.
than
it's a good way to come full circle.
Making any changes in your life whatsoever. I should be afraid of these things.
Yeah, fear is a very powerful like emotion that can really dictate in a negative way someone's life. And I mean, fear can also be used for a good thing, but 99% of the time it's, you know, it can derail someone from really experiencing like a really fun, exciting life. You know, what is beyond life after death is so beyond our understanding that I'm not going to waste my life trying to figure it out. Like, I'm just like, I'm here. It's like if you drop me off at a park, I'm not just going to be like, who built this shit? Like, who is this? I'll be like roller coasters.
Gonna live
There's
it,
some analogies for you. But yeah, it's, you know, it's today's world is so bizarre. Like there's so much like chaos and there's it's so much fake shit too. Like I think about that all the time where I see stuff and I'm like you ever see people or couples that make like reaction videos and you're like, that was so staged. Yeah. Like, what are you doing?
You put that camera there for that?
Yeah. I'm like, they're like, they didn't know I was watching. I'm like, bull fucking shit. They didn't know you're watching. Go
ahead.
Just like, we create all our own standards in our lives for what we'll accept, who we'll allow in there, you know, the type of shit we want. It's the same thing with us as a whole. It's like there will continue to be fake shit and there will continue to be like dumb ass shit as long as people aren't willing to look at themselves, right?
Yeah. Like so people right now hearing you even say that are like, no, you don't fucking understand. I'm different. What I'm experiencing is different. No, it's not. Yeah. I promise you it's not. Yeah. There are some awful, atrocious things that have happened in this world. But if you are listening to this right now, I feel like those atrocious things probably are not happening right this moment. It's the fact that you replay those in your head every day and your body doesn't know the difference between that experience happening when it happened and you replaying it in your head. So you experience the same chemicals day after day. You're just re-traumatizing yourself over and over and over. But the reality is like, we could all literally, like if you could get, what is it? 9.8 billion. 9.8 billion people on the planet now. You could get,
there's that many right now?
Yeah. You get everybody at the same time, just go, okay, fuck it all. But it's the fear. Well, you do it first. And it's like that person's going, no, you do it first. And it's like,
it's cellular. It's in your genetics. It's in your upbringing. It's in your every moment. So fear is prevalent in every
7.8.
7.8. Well,
right.
so
that's still a fuck ton.
There's fear in every moment. Yeah. There's fear. That's why people can't. I find it so hard to be present. And most often people don't realize they're not present is because there's so much fear. It's so hard to be in your body, which is how to become present is putting attention where you are, where you're at, the here and now. But there's always so much fear of living in your body and having to answer to yourself your intuition, the actual things you feel that you don't feel like you're allowed to say.
So what do you do? So to answer all of this, what is the solution?
Mm-hmm. Dude, mushrooms.
Well, that's definitely a tool.
Yeah. It's a beautiful tool.
That is a beautiful, beautiful tool. Yeah. Because, and that's the coolest thing. We're the equivalent of mushrooms. Yeah. We're equivalent of the psychedelic because we get into your subconscious.
Well, a lot of people
see
think
the parts that you can't normally see.
Yeah, and I think when people hear mushrooms, they think of just psychedelic effects, and I'm like, well, no, like you can like microdose them and have a really incredible experience of letting a lot of weight off your shoulders and understanding things a lot better. I mean, it absolutely helped me with depression and anxiety, where I was able to not only like internally solve conflicting issues, but it was like unloading weight off. Like it was off for good, even, you know, cause like there was no effect of whenever I had microdosed them. Like I wasn't like tripping out. I wasn't like anything. I just was able to feel a lot more clear, like clarity. And then, but when you bring it up, a lot of people, that wall goes up. Hey, I don't fuck with that. Like I don't do that. And
it's like anything else. It's intention. God, I don't remember who says this, but it's like a scalpel. Mm-hmm. Like a scalpel is not inherently good or bad. A scalpel in the hands of a licensed, educated person is a beautiful tool that can help save a life. Mm-hmm. A scalpel in the hands of somebody who doesn't have that education and has a horrible intention, it becomes a weapon and a murder tool. Yep. So it's like, it's all about intention. And the problem with psychedelics is so many people use them to escape, not realizing you're trying to, like, you can use them as something to escape with that intention. What if you use them to access? Mm-hmm. You have access to so many different perceptual centers that you can't see. It's like all these veils get lifted off of you. Like, and the way that we're all bonded, because we're all born the same. Mm-hmm. Yes, we have certain people have different birth defects and race, religion, areas that we end up getting indoctrinated. But that literally comes, race, religion, like you're not born and you're like, I'm white, You're not born and you're like, I'm black and this is what I have to deal with, or this is what I have, or this is what I have, or this is the country I'm going to, like, you don't know those things. So you're just born. And when you're born, you have your human needs. And it's like, when's the last time a 2-year-old was like, oh God, I shit my pants. It's 3 a.m. and I really don't want to, I don't want to make mom and dad mad.
Yeah.
So
babies don't give a fuck.
I'm just going to deal with it.
Yep.
You had your natural instincts and your natural intuition.
Yep.
You just made sure that shit got fulfilled.
No pun intended.
And then what? And then you fulfilled that shit and then cleaned it.
Yep.
But it's like somewhere along the way, usually around the time that we can start communicating, we start getting told, don't be this, don't do this, don't act like that, don't say that, don't scream, don't cry, don't go over there, don't like these people, don't like these people. This is what you do. This is what you wear. This is what you don't wear. And it takes away from who you are until you get to this point. And again, through the stage where you're like a fucking sponge. Don't do any of this shit. And then it's like, okay, blend in with everything. And then what do? We get into school. And it's like, spend the first 18 years of your life trying to blend in, not get picked on and get the shit beat out of you, that you then spend the rest of your life being like, I'm supposed to stand out.
I thought I used to think I was an idiot because like I struggled in school and I thought I was just a total loser and like I wasn't smart and all that. And then going to college, you know, I just went to play football and I party a lot. Like we got some special treatment in college, but it wasn't until I started life experience and learning things at my own pace and things that I realized like I'm not a fucking idiot. Like, it's not all books and just sitting in a desk for 8 hours, things like that. It's life. There's so much more to life than that. And I feel like a lot of people get lost in that. Like they become so accustomed to it, kind of like what we've talked about from the get-go is like they get in that comfort zone and then they don't know how to get out of it. And anything that fucks with their routine is terrifying. And, I try to encourage people to get comfortable being uncomfortable, like make sacrifices, take risks, don't succumb to just this, unless it's something you're passionate about, like don't succumb to this ideology of like 9 to 5, like, and then you work till you're 60 or even now 70 and then you're dead. And then you've missed out on a whole experience because of the what if, what if I do this and I fail? I'm like, guess you're going to fucking fail. Like I fail a lot. And that's part of the whole experience and the whole journey is like failing, learning, try again, find solutions. And that's what I've done. Like, I almost didn't get this whole studio. Like I had to, my credit was fucked from COVID. And so I was going through all this real estate or the real estate company and they were like, no, like you have to do a credit check. And I was like, God damn it. Like this is the place I want. And so I was sitting at home and I was like, I don't dwell. This is not what I do. I don't sit and dwell on like what, my circumstances. Like I just keep trying. So I came back down here and I went to the neighbors and I started knocking on doors and I go, hey, who's the landlord? Like who owns this shit? Like I want to talk to them. And it was weird. That girl had it like on demand. She's like, oh, here. I was like, all right. And so gives it to me and I call him and I just said, hey, here's my idea. Like I can make this rent. Like I'll do all this extra stuff if needed. And, he was like, all right, well, give me a day to think about it. And next day he's like, all right, it's yours. Like just send me 4 months rent up front. And I was like, shit. And so I made it happen though. That was just another thing along, but it's like, if I hadn't taken that risk, I wouldn't have all this right now.
Yo, dude, how many people do you think listen or heard that and they're like, yeah, I can relate that to something I've in my life, and I didn't take that risk, and I didn't do that because I went with the same shit because whatever I thought, I thought about that even. I even thought about going up to them and talking to them face to face, and then it kicked in. It goes, it's not gonna matter what I say. Who the fuck am I? Like I'm not good enough to change a scenario. So the difference literally is the individual. It's you. Anybody, they're going, okay, you want to be this, and you're gonna put something in here. You want to be a tenant, and they're like, well, if you're only comparing to other criteria and withholding the expression of everything you are, like, I'm sure you didn't just go, this is my vision and this is what I want. You probably spoke it with fucking passion.
Oh yeah.
And he could literally, in his energy, he literally could feel it. And he's like, dude.
Yes.
I was hungry. I told him, I was like, I'll do the lawn care work out there. Like I'll do all this stuff. Like I was like, I have something I'm after and I'm going to get it. And, no, he's been great. He's helped me out a lot. He's a doctor in Hawaii. And so I've never actually met him in person, but but I do feel like people spend more time coming up with excuses. This is actually kind of a good thing I want to transition into. How long have we been going? Look at the screen. It's not gonna be on that one. Huh? Oh, it's not that long. But there was, people, I feel like they spend way more time coming up with reasons why they can't do something, and when all they need is one reason to go after it. And that was the thing I wanted to touch on is I've noticed this like huge growth in people that I think they have this confusion between pity and respect. Like they think that if I'm always just talking about the sad things or the hard things in my life and the things I don't have, that somehow like caters people's respect. Like, oh, this person's going through all this stuff. Like, I respect them. In reality, it's like, you're a drag, dude. Like, you know, we all have problems, but I'm not going to sit and dwell on mine. You know, I'm going to focus on the good. And I don't know if you guys have noticed that, or if a lot of people like that come, you know, and work with you guys.
It's not that, yes, but, and it's essentially the same concept. It's just, they're not even thinking they're gaining your respect by telling their story, their quote unquote bullshit story. And we all have a bullshit story. It's the one that runs, that it's our subconscious. It's the one that runs to justify what we're experiencing and the pain we feel, all those things. Mm-hmm. So the way we interpret that is when somebody's doing that, it's because they're like, dude, I just don't want you to see me. Yeah. I'm trying to like give you all the reasons again why if you were to find out who I really am, if you were to find out how shitty I am, how the thoughts that I have, my bankruptcies, my
cheating,
repos, cheating, addictions, all these things that you have shame about in your own life, fuck, you're not gonna. This isn't gonna be good enough.
Yeah.
And that's why so many of us struggle in relationships, because in all of our relationships, not just the intimate ones, is like, well, I want this so bad, but I am so afraid of being truly seen for who I am that I'll sabotage all of my relationships. Yeah. I'll push people away from me, even if it's not what I actually consciously want. It's what I know, and what I know feels right to me, because it's all I've ever felt. And so when it comes to truly changing your life and truly impacting your own life so that you can serve, so you can live in purpose, you can do whatever it is that brings you fulfillment and in your life, it's deciding. It's not only having the realization of, shit, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm telling myself this fucking story and it's keeping me where I'm at. And I don't want to subscribe to that anymore. So it's not just that. And that's actually where most people fall short or stay at forever, because the part that becomes so fucking difficult is the part that you have to want more than you want to breathe. And that's choosing to consciously work through your physiology. And coming back to fear, everybody has fear. We all have fear to be who we truly are, because we've been taught that is not okay, and we will feel rejected and we'll be alone. Mm-hmm. And that is scary. That's like death. That's like, what's the point of living if that's all, that's meant for me? So it's like in the moments where it's like you have the opportunity to fucking be yourself, like to show up and to say like your message, no matter how fucking scary it is, how controversial it is, how much shame you might, how much judgment you might feel, or that you're going to receive, or rejection. It's those moments, those are the defining moments that actually change you. Those are what change you, because they're in the moment, and it's a choice in the present moment. And it's not about the past or the future. It's about what you want right now in the moment. And it's not just one time, it's millions of moments, and that compound, and the momentum of them is what creates the life that you want. But you can't just say, oh, well, I mean, it's beautiful when you have the realization, like, I'm fucking up my own life. Mm-hmm. And then you like try to do a couple different things and you're like, fuck, it is me. God damn it. Because it becomes too painful to live that every day. So you find reasons why it's actually not you. And then it always comes back to you. And it's like, okay, I'm tired of my own shit. I'm tired of feeling the way that I feel and subscribing to the thoughts that I subscribe to and the things that I fucking accept. And so it's like moment by moment. And it seems overwhelming, because it's like, God, I'm so fucking far from what I want to be and what I want to have and how I want to feel. But if you break it down to the smaller parts, like years are just weeks, and weeks are days, and days are hours, and hours are minutes, and minutes are seconds. And each second it takes practice. But each second you can choose to work through your physiology with your creating coherence in your body through your breath, through ice baths. Training, literally training your body. It's like
Huberman talks about
training to become a super human, the evolved version of yourself. and it's choice every single moment. And that's where all of us give up, because it's like, yo, I experienced some success in this, like I had a great day and I breathed through a moment where I would have got triggered with like my significant other or my boss. And then the next day that becomes too hard to live up to, or too unknown, or too scary. And it would require too much of you. So it's like you start to accept the same feelings of disempowerment, and then we continue to perpetuate our own. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's the choice to work through every single trigger, every single time that you feel challenged or threatened, is to choose the other thing on the other side of it instead of the trigger. And then also the acceptance of not judging yourself when you fuck it up, because you'll fuck it up a million fucking times until you get it right.
That's how you get it right.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't, and like,
it's like what I was saying about failure. Like you're going to fail. In fact, it's a great way to learn, you know?
And like, you know, she said, so first of all, she said the most key word of what everything is, and choice.
Yep.
And when like we talk about like waking up to yourself, we're not talking about like woke or whatever.
That's a whole nother world.
Like the whole idea is that you can awaken to yourself. And what does that mean? Awakening to yourself means you're awakening to the fact that you're allowed to make a choice. The problem is, and like we were saying about how we don't know the way some of our cell phones work, and they're like, oh, they're collecting all this data and all this shit in the background. I can actually go in and change. You never knew you could have that unless it was even presented to you. The same way you have no idea what it's like to climb Mount Everest or even create that idea in your head right now on the spot, because you don't have an emotional attachment to do that with. So you have no reference point. The same way, you know, like bodybuilding coaches, I find it very interesting that any bodybuilding coach and I'm not saying it can't happen, but bodybuilding coaches that have never done a bodybuilding show in their life to emotionally go through. I'm not talking about the logistics. I'm talking
the
about
knowledge, but the emotion aspect.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the difference between, you know, like in that sense, like an athlete who 2 weeks out and they're going, oh my God, dude, I'm struggling. I feel like I'm going to slip up right here. And the coach going, just fucking do what you're supposed to do. And going, dude, I get it. I know what that is. Fuck off. Do what you're supposed to do. But I understand. Let's formulate what's happening. And with ice baths, it's insane. And that's how the formulation happens. We help formulate all the aspects and pain points in people's lives that they can't actually see, and we allow them to see them, acknowledge them, and see them, and bring them back up in a way that feels so safe in a container between us with zero judgment. And it's like ice bath, for example. Somebody gets in an ice bath where they go, shiver up. Well, what do you do when you fall in cold water? Shiver up. Your nervous system kicks in immediately because it's saying there's something wrong, death, threat, whatever, like activate to it. So same thing, you're driving in traffic on like Monday morning, somebody cuts you off and same exact thing. Your stress, anxiety, same mechanisms are firing. The threat's not the same. It's not an actual threat on your life. But then you're going to go, well, that asshole cut me off and I would have had to slam on my brakes and there's the possibility I would have gotten in an accident. Okay, maybe,
but it didn't happen.
But you're essentially releasing the exact same feelings in your body, chemicals, as if somebody were to walk up to you on the street and point a gun to your head. You're releasing, your nervous system's kicking in, adrenaline's flowing. All these things are happening. Your pupils are dilating. Your nervous system's kicking in, so your excretory system's shutting off. Your digestive system is shutting down. Guess what? It doesn't matter to, like, we're trying to survive. Eating and shitting right now, it doesn't really matter. So we all live in stress all the time. So many people live in stress. I'm going to say the majority of the world lives in constant stress, a heightened state. And then when we get super triggered, we go, oh, then I got triggered, thinking that what is our baseline is a normal baseline. No, that's already a heightened state. So all this shit's pumping all the time. Everyone's adrenals are getting fucked. And you have down regulation of your metabolism. You have down regulation of all of your systems in general. And you have all these people that are like, I can't lose weight. I can't change. I hate my life. If I could just lose weight, I'd feel better. And we're going, that's why this is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. Because we're going to get the shit out of the way that is keeping you from losing weight. Because it's not that you can't lose weight. Your body is not responsive right now because it doesn't feel safe. It doesn't give a shit about what you're trying to do. It's adapted down to where you are. Well, I don't ever eat. Right, you don't. You don't eat already because you're scared you're going to gain weight and be fat. And that's what everyone fears. Like the word fat scares the shit out of everybody so much. So what there are all these modalities, these different ways of putting yourself in essentially a simulation. You get in an ice bath over and over. You do that a couple days in a row. Eventually, just like anything else, you start adapting to it. You know what it's going to be. You can create it in advance. But you have to know what is happening. You have to know it's not just you going, oh my God, I'm getting in freezing cold water. If it can be broken down to you, and we'll take people, we'll have them do them once. They freak out, they jump right out. We coach people through it. We talk them through it. And all they do is they understand what's happening. We give them some breath work. We get them centered. And as they get in, we coach them through just even their physiology, their body movement, what they're doing, how deep they're breathing, what's happening. And we keep them centered and come back. They'll sit in there for 15 minutes and they'll be like, wow. And they get out and it's like, they're like, I've never done that before. And all it is formulation. You just have to know and understand what is happening with your meat suit. It's not you. Yeah. It's not you. And that's we create shame around the default mechanisms that are built into these things, into the default mechanisms that are fostered into your brain. And then all of our individual experiences that kind of dictate and create and mold the way we go about fulfilling our human needs within that confine, while always being in our heads, thinking about all the threats. Like your brain is never going, hey man, let's do some cool, awesome shit today. Your brain's going, what's the cool, awesome shit you want to do? Let's find all the fucked up things wrong with it and why you're going to die if you do any of it. Dangerous. Right. Like, and that's the thing is like, we think it's this, and we grow up being indoctrinated that if you get good grades in school, we get punished if we get bad grades in school. You get punished for it. So what do? We have to be smart. We have to be in our heads. We have to be analytical and logical about everything. Let's be logical.
Have you heard about the Socratic approach? Like, so the second guest on my show is actually Tim Kennedy. And he started a school out here, the Apogee. It's called Apogee Cedar Park. And they're changing how they do stuff. And they're taking the Socratic approach where, in fact, one of the reels I have on the Austin Fitness page is Tim. And he's talking about we want our heroes to fail. He refers to their students as heroes. And he goes, we want them to learn through failure. We want them to, and I was asking him how like they progress and how is testing and things like that. And it's a really unique approach to schooling, but to me, it's a far more healthy approach, because they're not being, I guess you would say like indoctrinated to think that this is how the world is. Like, this is how you have to think. Like they kind of let them have the ability to expand their mind and the approach I would rather send if I had kids, if whenever I would probably want to send them to that approach. In fact, I saw a guy at the gym 2 days ago and he was like, yeah, I'm like trying to figure out how I'm going to work now because we're going to homeschool our kids because the public school system's so fucked up right now. Like, I just don't feel comfortable putting them in there. And I said, well, have you checked out this Apogee program and things like that? And so he's actually looking at putting his kids in there.
Dude, huge shout out to Tim, by the way. I love everything he does.
Really? Yeah. You ever met him?
I've never met him.
He's out in Cedar Park.
Nice.
When we get up to Austin, we're up here. So I've only been in Texas for two years, two and a half years. I'm like, what day is it? We moved out here. We moved out here like right before COVID. So it was like my timeline of stuff. I'm like, I don't know.
Oh god, that sucked.
Like, I don't know.
How was COVID for you guys,
dude?
Miserable?
Did it
like everyone else?
No. It was amazing.
Yeah, because for most. I guess we can only speak. We were like, well, I guess everything's changing for us. And we already worked from home, and I was transitioning out of like my clothing business, and we were building what we have now with what we do and our coaching and our guidance. And we were like, should we take more walks? And we couldn't go to the gym. And Grant is like, his mind is like, he's very much an engineer too, with how he like puts things. He built this whole rig for us outside, and we became like the crazy fitness people in our neighborhood, and we were like going on all these walks. And I
could probably tell you every aisle in Home Depot though from
nice.
COVID because I was in there every day.
But it was we so if you ever want to know what is the collective feeling on the planet right now, all you have to do is tap into yourself. So maybe experiencing it on a different severity, but it's all the same. It's an energy, and we all attach to it somewhere, and we all contribute to it, greatly. And so it's like we were experiencing I was experiencing a really deep awakening, and Grant was facilitating a lot of it, and in his own right, we are awakening to a different level of of ourselves, of a depth of ourselves, and so was the world. Like, so many people were like, "Oh, fuck COVID," but but look at it. Take a step back, transcend what you feel about what's right or what's not right, or what's true, what's untrue, or what's justice and what's not, and what's fake and what's real, and look at what it did. like it woke everybody up.
How crazy is it?
Yeah.
That you could just use all of that you're talking about, just like a pandemic, and you have to talk about justice and all these
What's real? What's
like
real?
all this multitude of shit it's about, supposedly it's just people getting sick.
And you know
really bad cold.
The only
But right, and I'm not what I'm saying is though it's medical based, but yet it's politicized. It's
they politicize the shit.
But what's
out of
real?
it.
What's real? The pain.
Socialized,
The pain. The pain is the root of everything for everybody. The people creating it, the people eating it, the people feeding it, the people fighting it, it's all feeding it. But it's like, I can only see it from this perspective because this is my opinion, because this is my identity, and this is what solidifies my story about who I am and what the world is. And
the excuse.
It's all pain. It's all pain. So all of us have it. And it's like, it can become anger. And for so many people it does, and it still is. And it did. Or it can be transmuted into meaning. And actually, like, what is a great life to me, to more profound thinking? And it's like, do I want to continue to subscribe to things that tell me like what I can and can't be and what I can and can't do, which is literally exactly what it is. So it's like, at what point do you start thinking for yourself, and at what point do you give yourself permission to challenge the things that you've always been told? And that's what we did. Your default settings.
Yeah.
And so COVID for us was like beautiful as fuck, because it also, like, so many of our clients and our people are people who it's like COVID maybe didn't actually affect them financially. They made the money already. And it's like, what were they left with? Themselves, loneliness, like the shit that they made the money to cover up.
I can hear it right now. I can feel people that hear that and they're like, oh, so your clients are people that, like, we're thinking of the big money conglomerates that were like, oh, I heard on CNN that those people are assholes. And it's like, no, like the majority of people we worked with throughout that, it was individuals who were like, dude, this is the same thing. There were people who were realizing I have a choice. Like, yes, environment and all these things. Everybody experienced it differently. But it's the choice. It's the choice to experience the way you're being told to experience it, or experiencing it the way you want to experience your life. Not this situation, but your life in general. And that's the thing. And it's just individuals that are going, dude, I have a choice. And I know if I have a choice, this is an investment. I'm going to invest in myself because it's going to come back to me, because I don't know how long this is going to go on. And I can see what's happening right now is not going to work out for me long term. And that's it.
I think it did a lot of, I guess you could say, awakening for people. Because like what you were saying earlier about, a lot of people didn't know how to do something or experience it till it was presented to them. And I think that is what, for like a lot of people I meet that just moved out here, or moved out here because of COVID and lockdowns, and they wanted to come out here because they knew that there wasn't restricted here. But it's like they wouldn't have done that unless they were pushed into that corner of like, I got to get out of here. Like, I got to go make a change and do all this, and this is the time. And so
I know therapists that were like, oh God, it's the pain point. I got to learn how to Zoom for work. And then it's like, wait, because never before would they have had a reason to do Zoom.
Yeah.
And now they're like, wait, I can actually reach patients. I don't have to be confined to my town of people that I work with. I can actually help people all over the world, and I can do it through this. Mm-hmm. And it's people were exposed to so many new modalities because they were finally forced into it.
Yep. It allowed me to, focus on the short-term, long-term plan of what I wanted to do with this. It's what inspired me to start getting the studio built and, build this whole thing out, and like all the other stuff, like I was showing you the website and everything like that. I never would have done that if I didn't have the time.
Then it's nothing but a beauty in disguise, because like, just from what you've shared with us about what you're building, like the amount of positivity and good it's going to put in the world, and already is tenfold. I'm
trying. It's fun. I mean, I am definitely not the world's most positive person, but I feel like if I can shed a little good on people, like, at least that's a fulfilling life for me. Like, I feel like a lot of people define happiness, like what you're saying, by what their bank account says. And it's like, can't take it with you. My grandpa used to say that to me. He's like, I was making bank when I first moved here, just working and doing all cool stuff. And he would always be like, well, are you happy though? Like, are you at least having fun? Because, you can make all that money, but you can't take it with you. So
you don't have to be the most positive person, because the reality is there's only one of those, and it's 7.8 billion.
I thought you were going to point at John. John's the most positive person.
Look at him. I was like, 7.8 billion people minus one.
Yeah.
So that number minus one, and that's everybody else.
Yeah.
So you probably don't know the most none of us do. And I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is people think, and we say in our heads, it's like, I can't wake up at 4:30. I can't wake up at 5. I'm not going to do an ice bath. I'm not, and we're not saying everybody, that's what you need to do. But that's the thing is all this bullshit gets pushed on people out there. It's like, do an ice bath, wake up early to be successful. Motherfucker, it doesn't matter what time you wake up. What matters is what you do at the time that you're awake. Now, if you're waking up the time you want to and you're not getting the shit done that you need to get done and accomplished to be where you want, yes, wake up earlier, give yourself more time, restructure your schedule. Yeah. But it's like, we worked with people that literally, they're like, I get up every day at 3 a.m. And it's like, damn. Cool. And they're like, and then they're like, oh, I hate my body. I'm like, why? It's like, it's not responding. I'm like, you're not sleeping. Yeah. Ever. Fuck, you're literally never sleeping. Yeah, but I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm like, what quote unquote motivational speaker did you listen to? like seriously, or what fucking meme did you see that told you that this like that being really tired equates success?
I get so cringy at seeing like The Rock or someone being like, I do this, and this. And I'm like, okay, that's for you though. Yeah. Like that, like, I don't know why other people are seeing that going like, that's what I got to do to be like that. And like,
it's because people see something an idea of what they want. Yeah. And they go, that's way better than what I am.
Well, it's like today I woke up at 4 a.m., but yesterday I woke up at like 11:30 a.m. So you're
like balance, baby.
Yeah. I'm like tomorrow, fuck, I don't know when I'm waking up. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. Yeah, the excitement of it's pretty awesome.
The first 20 minutes that you're awake, your brain's still firing in theta. Like you're receptive to things. So it doesn't.
I thought I was still dreaming.
Well, that's the thing. It does not say that the first 20 minutes past 3 a.m. that you wake up, you have this. Yeah. So it's like your body doesn't recognize that. It just recognizes whether it's getting enough recovery, and then it's waking up, and it is literally just the most beautiful, beautiful union between your like when you wake up in the morning, it is literally your subconscious meeting your conscious again, and your conscious is then going to go out for the entire day. It's like saying goodbye to your significant other, like have a great day at work, going out, and it's actually like, I'm kind of going to fuck you over all of this because you're going to be scared about what's going on at home. But it's like you have control over all of it. And then when you come back and when you go back to bed at night, it's like this beautiful reunion of bringing your conscious self back to your subconscious. And then you have these spaces, these gaps where you're extremely programmable to yourself. We just don't know it. And we don't know how to get it. And you're actually so capable of achieving it throughout your day, throughout any time you want. It's always accessible to you. Yeah. But people go, well, I'm not a genius and I'm not a rocket scientist, so I can't understand shit about the brain. And it's like, it's not that complicated.
That's a dumb approach. That's like a position of power, but
spelled like D-U-M.
Yeah. Double M.
Yeah. So I mean, God, how long have we been going? Like,
We'll have to do a saga episode.
Oh, for sure. I was going to say, kind of in conclusion, like, what do you were talking earlier about a retreat. So for people that might be interested to come and work with you or even check that out, like, what is the retreat and how would they find it?
So the retreat we were talking about. Yeah, thank you so much. The retreat we were talking about is actually, for the last year, we've offered a 12-week, 14-week program. Okay. In a group setting, virtual setting to people. And once they complete this entire experience, we hold a retreat, and it's just to bring us all together. We've,
about connection,
very deep shit, group calls, all these things, interacting, kind of getting an idea of each other through like some Facebook, some social media, plus group calls. And then we bring everyone together, and it's just optional. Like, it's not like we charge people for it. We're like, we get an Airbnb, we split the cost between everybody who says they're going to come, and that's it. And then we just use all of our modalities. Like, we'll do some sound healing, we'll do breath work, meditation. We'll take them through all these different things. And it's the ability, it's like this deep dive 4-day immersive experience to put everything into action. And then, so like in the second one, people from the first group and the second group can go. And the third one, everybody who's anybody.
This is actually this is the last one we're doing in that capacity though. Because, it's a full like revolution of a year of our work and understanding what it is, and so it's really beautiful that this is our last one like that because of what we are moving into, which is
what's the next? Yeah.
So everything we do now, we've already totally transitioned into it. We're not doing any group setting stuff on our offers anymore. What we're offering is a couple different levels of private 2-on-1 coaching. So we have an executive level, and that is like the cream of the crop. That is everything. Those are the individuals who's already like just made a killing financially in life, and they're like, God damn it,
that wasn't it.
Yeah, that was not the answer. Another external thing that didn't fill it for me. Yep. And then
that's what Tucker Max told me. You know who Tucker Max is?
No.
He wrote I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell.
And sounds like
it's a great book. He was like a 5-time New York Times best-selling author. I didn't mean to cut you off, but he did say that. He just said, I made all this movie. They made a movie about him. Like, it's an actual, like, Hollywood movie. And he just said all that stuff was external. And then that's when he started looking into, like, psychedelic therapy. And then he learned. It's a good episode. You guys will have to watch it. It's one of my favorite shows. That's awesome. So.
That's the thing. That's the thing is, like, what's more? Like, what else is there? And you know, people think about this stuff like, oh my God, I have to, like you said, like, do I have to become a monk? And it's like, no. Do I have to? I can't ever go out to the bars. I can't ever eat this. I can't do this. And it's like, dude, you can do it, and you're gonna enjoy it so much more.
It's about you. Like, it's about you.
You're like, I can't eat this food anymore. Dude, the food you eat is gonna taste 10 times better. It's gonna feel like you're high all the time with the munchies, because you are literally you experience life through your 5 senses. How are you experiencing life if you're numb to all of your senses? Because the only sense you're feeling is pain.
Yeah.
Because your nervous system's kicked on all the time, and it's sending pain signals to your brain, and that's it.
And it's the only thing you've been exposed to your entire life. And so because of the magnitude of how to reprogram yourself, what it requires, and just the constant reminder that you're fucking awesome. And you know, it's hard to see yourself when you've never seen yourself before, never felt the power of who you are before, and you're trying to get there, trying to sustain it. So now we offer individual coaching on a very high level, and we do only 12-month experiences. A full year of coaching.
Nothing less than that.
That's good. Well, I mean, that's good though. Like, it makes sure people that immerse themselves in the full experience, as opposed to, like, you know.
Well, and that's the thing. We don't promise anybody anything because they're the promise.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, because so many people, what we want to do is we never want to go backwards. We never, you know, to tell somebody like, okay, this structure you built in like fucking 1812 doesn't really, you want to build up 24 more stories. Maybe you need to take a minute and take a step back and break this shit down to ground level, re-pour some footers, create a better structure, and then go. Yeah. Nobody wants to do that. It's not sexy, because you can get on social media now. Everything's sexy.
Yeah.
Lose 42 pounds. I get these stupid fucking marketing text messages that's like, Grant, really get this supplement and you'll lose 45 pounds. Or no, it's not increment. It's like 43.2 pounds. it's like some homeless people that are like really good homeless people don't say, can I have $1 or $5? They say, yo, can I have $1.27 to get back? So it's like, oh, it must be real. And it's like, lose this much weight in 4 days. And it's like,
dude, they're evolving too.
That's not.
I had a homeless guy asked me for money, and I was like, oh, I don't have any. He's like, well, I accept Venmo. I was like,
wow.
What? Wow. Like,
what a world.
You're good.
I was like, you're still not getting anything, but well played.
So we do all that. And so it's this high level experience, and that is a combination of both in-person and virtual. Like, we have 3 in-person meetups throughout that 12-month experience together. One where we travel to them, one where they travel to us, and then one where we meet at a mutual destination. Because we go to them first, because we have to see how you live, how you move, what you're doing, what your routines are like. So we do that. Then the next thing that we offer is actually like a facilitator, what we do, facilitator development, and like a business education with it also, how to incorporate that into a business.
How to develop your message and how to deliver it.
Yeah. So to us, that's like,
facilitate.
To us, that's like, I would say the pinnacle, because again, like we said earlier, we're like, this is not our message. It's our version of a truth. And it's like, it's really to be like, oh, so you guys just assume you only tell the truth. And we just realized this the other day. A way to formulate it is like, what benefit would we have to tell anybody anything other than the truth? Yeah. Because we are awake to ourselves, which means we are aware. Like, every lie you've ever told is a shit you have shame about, that you go to bed at night when you don't have Instagram, you don't have people texting you and emails and work and all this distraction. Like, fuck. That's why it sucks to go to bed at night, because you can't go to bed. And we go, I'm so productive, I can't turn my brain off. No, you can't stop thinking about all the shit that you have shame about in your own life that you can't escape, because there's no distraction over it. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I guess maybe that got dark real quick.
So we offer a high-level executive experience, 12 months. We offer a facilitator mentorship. It's also 12 months. And we also offer a entry-level mentorship, which is also 12 months. So, and then we are, here in probably the next season or so, we're going to be offering also individual retreats for men and for women, facilitated by us individually.
Small groups, like eight. It won't be any more than
more interpersonal. That way.
Yeah.
But we share so much of our message and you know, our lives on Instagram. It's like the easiest way to find that.
I was gonna say where to find you guys at. So.
Well, and the coolest thing,
and I'll put it in the bios and all
Thank
that
you.
stuff. So.
My Instagram is Celeste Bonin, just my name, and his is
mine's Grant Dziak.
Yeah,
but
it's a tough one to find.
And like one of the most fun aspects of what we do is, things like this. Like we don't have our own podcast, and for a long time we were like, man, like we don't have our own podcast, we don't have our own retreat, we're not doing this. And we realized we're like, dude, we love amplifying things other people already have going on. Like we're very busy with like what we do, and it's like maybe like this. What a beautiful fucking mission that you have. And to us, we're like, man, like we feel so honored and privileged to be invited to be a part on it.
Happy you guys came. Yeah.
So it's like we love amplifying for other people. So people will also like corporate or corporations will hire us out for like events. We'll come in, we also do public speaking, but we'll do like sound baths, sound therapy, healing, like to everybody.
Journeys, yeah.
Just different ways of approaching it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. No, well, kind of wrapping up, I guess, like, yeah, I'm super happy you guys came out. This was definitely probably the most intellectual conversation I've had on the show.
Yeah, and beyond. It's beyond because it's all of the workings of the mind that feel prevalent, and then also like your being, like who you truly are. And it's very special to be able to connect like that, and be welcomed into and to be invited into your space to share. And because it is like, firsthand, it's hard to have your truth received,
or
and
challenged.
It's not for everyone. Yeah. So it's our prescription, it's our medicine that, the things that we do and teach and live. And but it's really cool to be able to be invited and to come and speak about it. So we're so grateful. And also from how this connection was created from our dear friend, Emily again. So,
and it's like, a big thing is that we work with people on is like, you can't be validated externally. No. And unless you can validate yourself, you can't be validated externally. So it's not that, it's more so this, it's like a feeling of being seen and being like confirmation to us. We're like, we're doing something right. Yep. If the way we see you and what you're doing and what the message is, we're like, and we got invited to come to that. We're like, yes, because it aligns.
But if anybody,
it's vice versa.
If anybody did resonate with the things that we're talking about, and thank you for creating such a space for deep alignment and be able to talk about such the depth of such things. But if this did resonate, and if you're ready and you're in a place to make a big change, make a big transition,
or just want more information,
if you want to, or if you even want to chat,
if it sparked it,
we interact in our DMs on Instagram. So if it's something you're like, I'm not even sure if I'm right for this, and we base it so much on the energy of where you're at, what you want, what your vision is, and what stands in your way, and if what we offer works for that, and it's very much a co-creation. Yeah,
we'll be like, we're like an Angie's List, kind of like you said earlier. It's like we want, like, if we won't lie to you, like we're not trying to just get your money. Like there's nothing in that for us. Yeah, like fucking thousands of dollars. Guess what? You can go through thousands of dollars pretty quick. It's not worth it. So to us, we don't care about that. We want to see that we are trying to create the world that like we want to live in, and not in like a really weird like dictatorship kind of way. Yeah. It's like literally like showing people how to be themselves based on the principles of how we became ourselves, not to become us, but themselves, because it's so fucking powerful. So it's like, if you felt any of this, it's like, don't have any shame in it. Yeah.
Hit them up.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And we'll have you guys out for the Big Fit Fest.
We're so excited.
September, right?
September 3rd.
Woo!
Awesome Fit Fest. Been working on that for 2.5 years.
Congratulations. We're so excited to be a part of it.
I'm super
part of the first one.
Fuck yeah, the inaugural. Yep. Yeah.
And then many more to come after that, and just keep hustling. And no, we'll definitely run it back. I feel like we've just barely what is it? What's the term?
Scratch the surface.
Scratch the surface.
Scratch the back.
You're like, what are you scratching?
Yeah. And no, I mean, we could have talked for 3 more hours. Like, I eat this stuff up. But no, I'm so happy you guys came. I couldn't be happier. And we'll definitely run it back. And on that note, we get to jam out to my older brother's actually one did the intro music.
That's what's up.
Woo!
So it's the same as the outro music. So, John.